You're muted.
What's going on, everybody?
I was this close to taking over your channel.
Do it.
Welcome back to Dark Horse Discourse, ladies and gentlemen. We've got B.A. Turner.
I keep getting told I'm dull, I'm boring. I was called a fag today. It's like maybe I should just hang it up.
You got called a fag today?
I did by John's short box. He finally unleashed on me.
I love that, John.
I was going to say unloaded, but that was too in line with his insult. So, yeah.
You'll get used to being called a fag. Don't worry. I get it every day.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, a little impromptu stream. Just called it Indie Comics Talk, with all the hubbub going around on Twitter about crowdfunding, and have a nice little window before Ballers. So it's like, let's hang out and have a chat. So, and welcome to my channel, and thanks JJ for sending folks our way after your stream. So good stream that you just had. So welcome everybody. So what's new with you, Patrick?
Oh, a couple things. I had the day off, so I spent the day painting, which all that stuff is over in the other room. But then some other things. I got this in the mail the other day.
Ooh.
Some of you guys might remember the Marvel Legends action figures. These things, this was $7 back in the day. Mm-hmm. I remember. And this was one thing that my old man got me when we went to Toys R Us one time. I rarely, if ever, we would not go to stores and you would get things. Like, my parents did not spend that kind of money on us like that. That's not a negative comment, by the way. It's just that's how it was. We didn't have that money. And one time we did. And my dad got me this, and I lost my version of it. You know what happens when you grow up and you move out of your parents' place and they throw all your stuff away. But I had to have this, the first appearance thing. It's just so cool. I love it so much. And the boxes. This is when action figures were so amazing. The boxes, the box art. He's got his stats up there. I mean, this is like top notch.
That's prime,
yeah, this is like the best thing you can get. And then in the mail, I came back from being out of town, which is why I was not hosting the Commandos, and Carbon did such a great job, and Frederick and Aaron were there, and it was a really good time. But now I have the cards that will be sent out with Phenomenon number 2. So it's all moving along. It's pretty nice.
Who is this? Is this some agitator in the back here? Who's this guy?
Well. Look what the cat dragged in.
What's up, man?
What's up, JJ?
After certain... Patrick sent me these frantic DMs yesterday asking me to hide him after Mint reviewed Phenomenon Tales. So I put him in my basement. No bed sheets, no utensils, no metal objects. And I found this giant crater. I was guarding the door the whole time, but he used his hands and he just dug out. And now here he is.
Here I am. Thank you for helping me, JJ. I needed that.
Well, I'm just glad you're safe. But I hope
he's on my channel. He's always safe here.
Right.
It's a safe place. Safe space.
Until your slew of agitators show up and start calling me a fag.
No, we'll see if they're too busy on a Friday night, Typically there's a couple. Typically.
But I actually didn't watch the review though, so I don't know what happened. But man, I was hoping I told B.A. Turner, I said you have to kick me out. So I said, hey, look what the cat dragged in. I was wanting some kayfabe, but he didn't kick me. I'm still here. So
I'm too nice. I mean, you really, really gotta take constant jabs at me for a couple months before I call you out. So
it's too bad.
What can I say?
And if you're taking jabs at his guests, he doesn't care. It's like, that's fine. Whatever.
Well, that's that. On the other hand, yeah, I'm actually a lot more quick to respond to that.
But yeah, I feel kind of bad ruining the Patrick interview. I was just trying to create some quick drama and leave. But BA doesn't have the guts to do it, so I'm going to have to do it myself.
Here we're all about comics.
This guy. I think he's having one of those emotional outbursts people keep talking about. You know, he's upset that Richard is launching another comic book, and JJ doesn't have a comic book, and so that makes him upset. Considering that he's, you know, partially Hispanic. Obviously, he's Amish, but you know, he's half Amish, half Hispanic. So another Hispanic man coming out there and doing the Lord's work is something that JJ he just can't abide by.
So he's Hispanish, right? That works. Him and Richard Ombre, you know.
Richard Ombre, dude. I have accidentally been calling him that like over and over, and I don't know if it annoys him or not. But I'm like, shit, it's Embry.
I did it once, and I'm like, I'm keeping it. Yeah,
you should.
It's endearing, right? It means something like brother. I don't think it's offensive.
Yeah.
I don't know Spanish, but I know there's a couple words out there you shouldn't call them. So let's see who else is in the chat here. We got Mr. Aaron, Immortal Rising. What's going on, dude?
What's up, Aaron?
Got Crane Style. What's going on, dude? Yeah, we got Katie. Welcome. How's it going?
Oh, look, it's Katie.
And Headless Bourgeois. Welcome. And Flady. How's it going, dude? I don't know whose hands he's referring to here, but
talking about my hands. My hands are really strong, actually.
Get some more people. Whoa, what's going on?
Oh, look who comes crawling back.
Hardy.
Yeah, BA sent me the link. He said, you gotta come back. No.
He's like, don't leave me here with Patrick for the whole show.
Good evening. Aaron? Good to see you guys.
Indeed, Katie. Indeed. I think many do.
Man, that was a crazy back and forth with you guys.
Yeah. You know, I've been holding on to some really, easy ways to get him to finally stop being passive aggressive, and it worked. Just reminding him, like, hey, you remember that time you talked shit about me for no reason to Ethan in his DMs? Like, and that I just hated that I called him out for that. And it's like, dude, what do you expect? I mean, that's kind of what you get. So, but you know what? It's CG's fault that crowdfunding is dead per se, and he's not rolling in funding apparently. So I don't know.
Dude, that last comment you said, it wasn't the last comment, but it was one of the last ones. It was fucking savage, and I was like, I was reading it, and I was like, oh my god! Hold on, I gotta find. Are we gonna bring up the whole thing? Because
we could.
We should. I mean, it was funny.
And I'm not one to usually, I don't know, dramatize stuff or whatnot, but it's just like he's so in the wrong on this. And again, like some of the anti-CG people, they just love in any post they can to try to take a jab or hop on a dog pile, they do it. And in so many cases, they just fall flat on their face. And yeah, so let's see here. Let me find it. Because it's a lengthy chain. So let's see where it started.
You guys went back and forth for a while.
Mm-hmm. I hate when they get so long you can't even like get to the original tweet without clicking up a million times.
Yeah. While he's looking for that, Aaron, thank you for helping out Carbon and Fred on the show the other night. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had to show up.
Yeah. It was a great show. I listened to the whole thing. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Right on.
Obviously, except for the parts where you guys were shit talking my girl. But
that's all right, man. I get it. You're thirsty. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Did you top her off?
I wish. I'd like to get under that hood. That's what I should have said.
Yeah.
You wanted to check that oil, that's for sure.
Let's make sure everything's lubed up nice.
Yeah. Give you oil change for free, honey.
Right.
He's like, I want to insert my spark plug. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Well, me and Fred were talking about it, Pat. I think she has a lot of mileage, so to speak, and for an innocent,
Whoa.
sweet virgin like you know, I just I'm afraid that it might cause corruption. You know,
Oh yeah.
Thing is,
man.
I don't know if JJ was joking about that.
About the mileage?
No, well, your mileage.
Oh no, that's not.
Oh, okay. I mean,
I'm not gonna
props
go
if
out-
so.
No, that's not. But you know,
Nuh-uh.
look,
Boob feels like sand.
we've all made mistakes in our life, and I can.
Well, you know, people like to,
No.
you know, put their feet in the sand for some reason, right?
No, that's not the
Cool.
case. Some part of me wishes it was, but then some part of me understands that, like, you know, when you make mistakes in your life, you learn hard lessons that you wouldn't have learned any other way. So, you know, that's.
Yeah, I get up every morning.
So, yeah, so this was the original tweet. And this is, first off, this is in reference to the whole BTM review of Dark Harvest, right?
which wasn't even a review because he didn't even read it yet. So
And so Tom Tuttle was just having some fun, joking around, saying, you know, Cyberfrog, let's, you know, just let Lily go. What the fuck? That's not a hero. Where's the Spider-Man moment? And then he references, you know, Stan Lee's Spider-Man moment, in which the hero makes a mistake, which ultimately, right, the payoff with his learning an essential and fundamental lesson, right, with Uncle Ben dying as a result of his immaturity, essentially. And that's the whole point that Ethan's making is, right, he's learning from that mistake, he's maturing and whatnot. And let's see here. This is right where, yeah. So James Murphy basically just reiterated that. And then John's Longbox just pops in on nowhere and says, oh, but this was all done in a monthly issue for a low cost, even back then, of a dime. Such a boomer comment, but fitting. You know, not in a 10-year, 3-issue story that costs over $100. Yeah, I love it when people just try to compare it to the mainstream. Why aren't you as cheap as the mainstream? You know, why aren't you as frequent as the mainstream? Like, come
False
on, you
equivalency.
claim to be all about comics and no comics like this, and you make your own comic, you should know. Like, hey, there's a reason why Generic Tales #2 is taking more than a couple months to make, right? Like, you're not releasing monthly. You're not charging a dime. You're not charging $5. So what's the deal? But again, this is just him, like, you know, lashing out in a passive aggressive manner. And so anyways, some folks kind of go back and forth.
That's the
Yeah.
newest bandwagon, right? Is overcharged books.
Mm-hmm. And again, and that's basically where I jumped in. Let me try to find it here, where I was like, are you trying to say that your level of quality, level of effort and whatnot is equivalent to his, right? That you guys should be charging the same price? Like, oh, because yours is maybe 15, that Ethan should charge 15. Like, that's such a bullshit argument. Let's see if I can find that. This chain went wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at all these.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, am I following it properly? I'm just because I like a good debate, you know that, BA, and so I would just like to see the back and forth. Yeah, I was surprised it went quite as long, and then the way it ended was pretty funny. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't have considered you a fag, but I guess John does. I don't know.
So he says, yes, I put it in one complete comic, priced reasonably. I don't overcharge and make you wait a decade for it. So obviously hyperbolic in two different ways here, but the saying I don't overcharge obviously implies that Ethan overcharges. And let's be frank, the $25 price point has been consistent for 7 years now or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think in most cases when it's ex-pros or whatever, people that are on his level, it's justified for sure.
Yeah, the market accepts it. Yes.
Exactly. And right, we know the dollar doesn't go as far now as it did 7 years ago. He's not raising the prices to ensure like he maintains a certain margin. So if anything, he's maintaining his value.
Yeah,
right?
it's not getting cheaper to make.
Right. Exactly. Right. So that is what caused me to chime in. And I basically said, overcharge. I'm sure you're not trying to claim that the level of quality, cost, and time tied to your books is equivalent to his, right? And let's see. I don't think he even responded to that. At another point, we went back and forth.
Uh-oh, JJ saw Zegler.
I'm gonna have to go back to where.
Well, hopefully you'll flash.
Back and forth.
See that.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth, as you can
Well,
tell.
so for one thing, the pricing argument, it's like art is you can charge whatever you think it's worth. So you know, if especially a veteran creator like that, like Ethan could charge $35 a book if he thought that was where the price action was, but it's not. You know, the market has proven that it's around 25, at least for, I guess, him. So like me, I'm not well known, so I was selling floppies for $5 and 20 for the premium glossies. So I can't, you know, sure I could. I had on a former campaign I was selling #1 for 25, but like you know, I was like, well, let me lower the price and see if that, you know, if I get better sales that way. So
Yep, and I mean that's the thing too. It's like,
what's up, Carbon?
yeah, what's up, dude?
What's up, Carbon?
What's the hey guys? How's everybody
the
doing?
Not bad, not bad. Yeah, the whole
Good.
pricing thing. That I mean, you guys are all aware of that. I've talked about that quite frequently, whether it's on videos or here. It's just like charge whatever you want, but don't go and say he's overpriced, and then don't bat an eye when Eric July comes into the space with zero experience, with artists of lower quality and experience, and he charges $35. And like, I think the shipping even at that time was kind of miscalculated and much higher. So it's like, I don't see you complaining about that over and over and over again.
That,
Why?
and even
Because-
at least maybe his story's incomplete, but at least he's got a story.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Well,
the
BA
Isom was not a complete story. We know that.
It wasn't
talked
anything.
about-
It was
It
a
wasn't
series
a
of
story.
events linked together through nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to, I don't have emotional outbursts on streams.
I'm glad I never bought it.
$25 is not a crazy amount for what essentially is a graphic novel size, you know, trade paperback with a nice quality stock and a thick, you know, outer cover. And we talked about this, BA. Remember that debate you had on Commandos with Michael Oden?
Oh yeah.
You two were talking about the price point. Right now, it's $5 for a 20-page floppy that's of low quality, you know, at the comic shop. So 25 for at least 48 pages. No, it's reasonable, especially if you're indie, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
This is a small business doing everything themselves. Like, it's not comparable to
Well,
mainstream.
and
It never
as
will
a
be.
boutique product, you know, you should be accepting of like convention prices. You know, like you should know that they're boutique items, and you know, I can't mass produce what I create, so I have to, you know, you got to give me some kind of leeway. So, you know,
Right. And that's why I try to talk about and remind people of like minimum order quantities and how the business side of it works. It's like, if you're printing only 100 copies versus 10,000 or 50,000, right? Suddenly your book is half cost to print, or a third, or a fifth.
yeah.
And so your pricing has to be in line with those price breaks, unless you want to go belly up, right? Which we'll go into a discussion in relation to that. But so this is where he goes into his anti-CG rant, because somebody said, you know, pushing a button, he said, you know, is Ethan holding you back, John?
There
And
it is.
he replies with, CG is holding all of crowdfunding back. People are tired of backing poorly written, expensive books that show up years late, if at all. I didn't know Eric was part of CG. Because that fits that bill, right? But you don't see him complaining about that. You don't see him saying, oh, he's damaging indie comics. No, it's just CG. But in reality, when he says CG, it's one or two people. One,
Well, who
maybe two,
exactly
not
is he
many.
saying poorly written? Because I know he doesn't like John's writing, John
John.
Malin's writing. But to say that Shane Davis's writing is bad would be like get out of here. Like Shane Davis does actually a fantastic job for an artist at writing, and so does Aaron Lopresti. And then a bunch of other people have their own writers. Like Andy Smith has his own writer. I mean, who is he? Who exactly is he talking? And
or
not
Billy,
like. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say Billy Tucci's writer. I reviewed recently a book that he did. And he's really good. Like he's a screenwriter, by trade. But he's like really good at like, setting up action. And there was like this one page he made where I almost like threw the book at the wall. Like he made me so mad at the villain. I was like, oh crap. Like, yeah. But anyway, I agree with you. Like I'm kind of, I kind of agree with John Longbox too, in the sense that I'm sick and tired of buying crappy books. But it's like, that's why I just don't buy from random people. You know what I mean? Like some guy who has like a huge collection per se, or someone who has a YouTube channel. I'm not going to buy from you just because you have one of those things, because maybe you don't know how to write. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
And he eventually moves.
Well, here's the thing about John Longbox. I remember specifically Ethan mentioned that, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago, John Longbox was at the New Jersey Comic Con, and he approached Ethan in person. And apparently he had been DMing Ethan like frequently saying, hey, I have this comic idea, Heroic Tales. Can I come on your channel? He kept on hounding him. And then to the point where he hassled him in person for it too. And Ethan was like, we'll see. And then Ethan on stream, he just flat out admitted, he's like, no, I don't want that guy on my stream, But it was at that point that John turned on Ethan, because prior to that point, he didn't have any criticisms. But it's all about the scorned ex-lover.
He's never been on his channel. Part of me thinks he's been on once or twice.
There may have been one. He never promoted though. He may have shown up on one. He never
promoted his book on his channel.
Yeah, not on Ethan's channel. No.
Huh.
He did show up. What I remember, like for example, when the Yellow Flash stuff showed up, or the Yellow Flash drama, and Ethan kind of put the link in the chat. John Longbox came on, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I think this is bad for everybody," and then he left. But I never actually remember John going on CG Live. But maybe I'm wrong. But...
So yeah, I mean, essentially, where it started to get a little heated up. I mean, I was just challenging him, just saying like, "Hey, why did you latch on to CG then and ask for promotion until recently? Don't claim it's just because of those proclaimed issues, right? The writing and the pricing, because that hasn't changed, right? John's been writing books for several years. The pricing has always been there. So you had no issue with it then if you wanted people's promotion. And, he says, oh, same reason you came on my channel, promotion. And it's like, oh, there it is. You joined CG strictly for your own benefit, just to get promotion. That's it. Now, that's not there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, because people will catch on to that. And I do think that will impact who backs you, right? When people realize like, hey, this person's just trying to benefit from it. They're not really given anything, And, I just said, hey, we gave you promotion. I mean, he was on with me on Mandy, Dale and Shane's, Pimp My Comic. He was on everybody's channel, I think, with the exception of John and Ethan. And let's be honest, it ain't easy to get on those channels. It's a matter of luck. It's a matter of gaining some trust either from them or some people that are close to them. But there's a laundry list of reasons why that is, because of people in the past that have ended up basically stabbing him in the back. And so, yeah, I said, hey, you got your promotion. They helped you get funding. So why shit on all of CG? And why aren't you so outspoken about comics outside of CG that fall under your same complaints? And I just reminded him like, hey, I don't hang out with CG just for promotion, right? It's because I wanted to find artists. I wanted to collaborate with people. I want to network. I want to learn, right? I want to watch their streams, their videos, so I can figure out, hey, how should I run my own campaign, right? Learn from people that have done it. And also because I do want to help people that help me. I mean, that's just how I am. Patrick promotes me. I promote him. Like that's to me
Well,
how
see-
a community should operate.
CG to me is about more than comics, though, to be honest, because it's
Mhm.
also a group of people that are like-minded. I mean, to me, that was kind of the original appeal. To see all these based people being able to actually voice their opinions like freely without holding back, and that to me is kind of the best element of the whole community. So it's more than the comics. Obviously, is the core, and we're all in it for that. We all love comics, but it's also that we all it's about freedom. It's about fighting what's been happening in America for the last decade or so.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this and then I get a little long-winded, but kind of setting the stage here. So he says every comic maker who latched onto CG did it for promotion. Why else? And wasn't supposed to be a network, grab an oar, blah blah blah. Said he criticized ISOM.
Yeah, but that's not even like that shows that betrays a inner spirit that he's got about CG. That's not actually what I think a lot of people who are in CG think about CG. Because if we're being brutally honest with each other, CG does to a certain group of people puts like a black mark on you. They're like, oh, you want a CG? Fuck you. We're never going to promote you.
Story
It
of my
would
life.
be more in one's favor if you were only selectively looking for promotion. It would be more in your favor to not like, how would I put it? It would be not more in your favor, but like there's a lot of things that people have problems with about CG that when you come and you say, I'm only here for the promotion, that seems disingenuous to me because the people here in CG understand that there is kind of a black mark on you after being involved with CG, but we're doing it anyway because we like the people that we're around and this spirit that CG has behind it. That's more than just, hey, we're independent comics and we promote each other. That's not only what CG is. CG is more than that. It's about freedom of speech. It's about, the purity of the art form, making good comics. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. And then he says, I criticize ISOM, just like you admitted. Am I supposed to make a career out of it? That's a nice passive-aggressive jab there. I also said I hated Godlike. How many times should I say that? I'm lashing out against CG in the same manner that EVS originally lashed out at RIPA. Not a fair comparison there at all. That it's harming his business. Except in my case, it's true. CG is hurting all crowdfunders as their poor reputation is painting all of us. RIPA, like him or hate him, doesn't affect me. Except for you were part of CG and you're claiming it was a problem. It's been a problem for a while, so you were part of the problem. That's an odd
It's like
indirect admittance there.
If someone says, I stopped doing chemo doesn't work because now I'm dying of cancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
a perfect example.
It's like, I hate Comicsgate. Comicsgate doesn't help me after I'm no longer using them. Like, Comicsgate sucks. It's like you're saying that now in retrospect because you're obviously feeling butthurt. And, I don't really know the whole history of back and forth between John and Ethan. I know Ethan kind of said some stuff that was, in my opinion, probably going too far. But at the same time, just look at how passive aggressive he's being. He goes, "Oh, I don't attack," but everything he says is
right,
indirect. But yeah, sorry for interrupting you, Carbon.
No, it's cool, man. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It's a case of sour grapes, and more I see people do that in life. The fable of the sour grapes, and it's for example, with the cancer. Oh, now I hate my oncologist. Fuck my oncologist, man. He didn't cure my cancer. That's exactly. Oh, and by the way, about Godlike, this dude literally wrote after he read Godlike, he tweeted that Godlike is the worst comic he's ever read. Now, that alone, this guy's finished in my eyes ever since I saw that. Anyway, moving on.
You have to assume he's got so many comics. He's read so many comics. You have to assume that he's read modern Marvel X-Men. And for him to say that it's the worst comic, oh come on, you've read stuff from Marvel in the past 4 years.
Well, plus him, let's see, there was him, Bat Sauce, and Daniel P. Riley all went on this like hate godlike tour where they were jumping from stream to stream to stream, doing a review where it was just like outright just bitching, like as if they got like so personally offended that the book existed. And several
You mean
of them
they
didn't
were
even
clout
back it.
chasing?
Yeah, exactly. And I call them out on that. It's like there's a reason why you were trying to basically just take advantage of some airtime and try to get in with the anti-CG crowd, because it was a trend at the moment because of Trashcast happening and all of that. And it's like, dude, John wasn't even part of that. He's still not a part of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what is your issue with him? Like,
John,
okay, you didn't like the comic. Just stop backing him. Problem solved. He's never done anything to you or the space. Like, he just makes his comics his own way. You don't like him? Okay. Like, seems
one
simple.
thing that John Longbox is probably correct on is that there is like I think overall, if you get support from CG, it's a positive. However, there is definitely, like you guys were talking about, kind of like a brand, like you do get kind of like a black label, right? Like I could just say, hey, Greg Capullo, want to come on? You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain people who won't want to talk to you. But the other thing that happens too is like John Malin didn't do anything to get involved with this Yellow Flash, Eric July drama for the longest time. He was staying away from it. And he would say, I like Eric. I don't want to talk about this. And he would just kind of have like a neutral face, and he would never go on Trashcast. And it's funny because for some reason, everybody decided to give John a spanking, like by proxy for Ethan for some reason. And I don't know, like it does show that there's like some people where they have like this, once you associate with Ethan, it is kind of like they want to put like a black mark on you. And I do think that's one of the big reasons why they're going after John, because they think that maybe if they can break that, then the whole thing falls apart.
Isn't that kind of like a liberal mentality, though? The very idea that, okay, you've associated with one guy who, maybe this guy's got opinions that you don't like, or he acts a certain way you don't like, but now that you've associated with him, you must think everything he thinks. It's like, guys, like, relax. I don't think anything any of you think. Like, I think very crazy things compared to the things you guys think. But I'm not like out here, we got to agree 100%. That's not the point of this. And I think that's a thing that unconsciously comes into these people's minds. They go, "Oh, so he was promoted by Ethan, and he's not talking shit, or he's not denouncing Ethan in the ways that I want him to denounce him. Therefore, he thinks everything that those people, or John Malin or whatever." You know what I mean? Like, I can 100% confirm I don't think the same things that John Malin thinks, but it doesn't mean that he's not right when he's right. You know what I mean? So but it's this like mentality of like, my view of you is you're the exact same as these other people. And like, you are incapable of being your own individual human person. And they instantly put that on you. And it's just this like, oh, now you're the guy who wants everybody. You have to bend the knee and have the exact same ideology, which is hate Ethan, or you believe all these things that I've decided you now think. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing is, he just kept dancing around the point. I mean, basically, to summarize this long-winded paragraph here is, he was aware of the prices and the writing when he decided to be all in on CG. Had no problem benefiting from the group, but then once the drama happened with Ripa, he decided, oh, nope, gotta back out, right? Gotta maintain those optics, right? So I can still like maintain some sort of relationship with Mark Millar and Eric July and Nerdrotic, right? And all those people, because it's the YouTubers that are gonna save indie comics, dear God. And so it's like, and then now suddenly you're just vocally complaining about it frequently, but completely ignoring the people that are actually guilty of the things that you're claiming. And then it's like, I said, like, your constant whining about godlike. It was a sad and apparent attempt to get attention, just like the others, like I mentioned, who acted like the books, literally fingered their rectum without consent. Like that's how he was reacting. Like you said, like, oh my God, it's the worst book I've ever read. Like, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, you're gonna tell me that godlike is worse than ISOM, even if you don't like the writing, right? Like, again, everyone has their own writing style, but his art is
I got
beautiful.
godlike. it really reminded me, the tone of it. It was obviously a lot of setup, and it reminded me of like the beginning of Dune '84, which I thought was pretty cool. And then like the very end, I think the third act or something like that, he switches to the main protagonist, and you get to kind of see that. And that's basically what it was. There's a lot of setup. So I don't know. I thought it was all right. I don't understand why everybody was like, this is yeah, I didn't get that. So
well, clearly there are flaws to the book, but it's not a trash comic. That's for sure. The art is fucking awesome. And the designs and there's a lot of good stuff in it. To say that is absurd. He was being emotional, and at the end of the day, he's being very liberal, like you said, Patrick. This is a liberal mindset here, where it's a victim mentality, guilt by association, as opposed to just kind of taking responsibility and
all my enemies think
picking
the same
yourself
thing,
up by the
type
bootstrap. Yeah,
it's another thing too, where and we said this on the Commandos when we reviewed Godlike. The first read, I said that the first read, I was like, yeah, no, like I didn't like the writing that much. Second read, it was like, okay, wait a minute, I understand what's going on here. It's heavy. And maybe that's something John thinks about, and I don't know. Who knows what? I don't know. The point is the very beginning is very heavy in exposition.
I don't know. I like that. Like
some
I said,
people like it, some people don't. Yeah, I mean, Andy Smith's books have literally fucking like 3 paragraphs, at least the first one does, of just pure exposition.
Oh, really?
Of course. And so it's just like, if you like that, you like that. If you don't, you don't. People write things differently, and so if you don't like that style of writing, don't write like that. Now that sounded kind of liberal. If you don't, what I mean to say is, like, everybody's got different styles of writing, and are things going to be perfect right up front? No, but you should read things twice at least, because that's what it took for me to be like, okay, I get it. I get Godlike. Once I read it the second time, when you first read something, you're so concerned about, and this is just the way the human mind works, where you are receiving pieces of information and you're trying to file them away into a place where you can understand what the heck's going on. And once you've done that and you go back and you look at something, then it becomes a lot easier to be like, okay, I can see the artistic merit of this, that, or the other.
Yeah, get familiar with it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and one thing I was just reiterating him, it's like, and I'll apply this to the Ripperverse. I think this is a fair comparison. It's like, it's one thing to take issue with, right? If you have an issue with John, Ethan, whatever, okay, but don't broad brush all of CG, right? Because again, several of them gave you a platform. Several of them backed your campaign. Several of us retweeted your campaign a bunch of times. Like, that's literally a slap in the face to some of your backers and to the creators. And it's like, simply just stop backing those guys you don't like. And it's like Ripperverse, right? Like, I like Mike Barron. I don't have an issue with Chuck Dixon.
Yeah,
like, there's many artists there that I'm like, hey, I like them. I have no issue with them. So I'm not going to say anything bad about them. I keep it specific to, it's like, hey, I just don't like this person, or I don't like what this person says, and here's why. But he is literally just going full nuclear because, again, he didn't get what he wanted out of CG. So now he's trying to move to other parts of the space.
Yeah.
And, like I said, I was like, why did God bother you to such an extent, but Isom did not? I kept asking him, like, why can't you said you didn't like Isom, you said you didn't like Godlike, but why did the one have such an emotional impact on you? And, I said you had no problem trash talking John or even me in DMs to EBS, and that's where he went to the, you're such a fag. And then he brought some religion into it. Like, this was actually kind of like,
I didn't see
this
that.
is, he said,
really?
I trash talked you because you came on my channel for an hour with about as much enthusiasm for your book as a Muslim would for a bacon sandwich.
That's a pretty good one, got to be honest.
Right, but it's like,
I remember
hey, some people could take offense to that, And then
I think he's trying to get Bosch Foston in there.
yeah, exactly.
Don't get him started.
And then eventually he's like, I have a lot of comebacks, but fag is perfect, succinct. And this is where I was like, oh, low effort and lacking creativity, just like the comics. Perfect, succinct.
First
Some
of
people
all,
added to
for
that
somebody
detail eventually.
Do you guys
for
Savage.
somebody to start a tweet out, scroll back up, BA.
Just like your cock.
Yeah, for someone to start a tweet out by saying you are such a fag, right there,
It's
actually
lost.
that's revealing what he is. Because like, dude, talk about beta ass behavior.
Mhm. That wasn't
Speaking
a dull
of-
response on my part, buddy. So
Speaking of lack of heart and low energy, let's go back real quick to topping off Brittany Denty's fluids.
There'll be
God.
no low
Quinlan's
energy
been
there,
passed
brother.
out.
I'll tell you that
God.
much.
Hey, back
So
off,
hot.
JJ. That's Patrick's woman, all right?
Yeah, you better watch it, feller.
Patrick, I think you should offer her a used car. Let them know that you got a deal on a used car that she could
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah, she can hang out in my car with me. That's how that'll work. My car's used.
and you don't like to wear a seatbelt. Make sure you reaffirm that to her. You know what
I
mean?
actually don't wear a seatbelt. Maybe that's stupid,
Baby,
but
you
I
can drive my
I don't.
car. Yeah.
You have the child lock on the passenger side.
There's no
So she can't
child
get
lock.
up.
It's a 14 Civic. She's gonna see that maroon 14 Civic with cigarette ash on the dash, and she's gonna go, yeah, that's my man right there.
Yeah. He looks dangerous.
Badass.
Right? Why is the hubcap on the right rear wheel missing? Don't ask questions.
She's gonna love that four banger.
Yeah. Wait till I open her up.
Oh, shit.
Oh man.
Uh,
Sorry, BA. You see what happens?
Yep.
They're trying to derail your show by following me around with this.
I
crazy
welcome it.
stuff.
Now people can't call my stream dull and anti-charm. Very charming.
They're still gonna call it smug, though. They're still gonna,
Like a Muslim
Nothing
with
you
a
can do.
bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
You should. You should call your next show a Muslim with a bacon sandwich. Just, oh man.
So yeah,
Look,
that was
I
that,
understand you guys are just jealous
exchange.
that you don't have any chance with her, and I totally 100%. If I keep tweeting at her, she'll one day respond and fall in love with me.
Hey, the longer you tweet, the farther her eyes will get apart. Just be,
Damn!
be careful.
Guys, this is all going on your permanent record. When we get married, you're gonna have to recant all these things that you've said. It's gonna be horrible.
Listen, Patrick,
I'll run
at
the wedding party.
at the wedding, I will stand up and say, I object. I object to this union here.
Speak now, I'll forever hold your peace. Don't do it.
Hey, it's better than Sydney Sweeney, in my opinion. So hey, you got my
It
approval.
is, yeah. I could be fawning after Rachel Zegler, guys. Come on, you have to.
Uh-oh.
I don't
You gotta-
have
you
an
gotta give
issue
me
with how
some
she
breaks.
looks. I'll be honest. So
No, I don't have an issue with how she looks, but just her personality is just hideous.
you think
Zegler's.
who you're?
personality.
Yeah, I know, but you think Brittany has a great personality?
Uh-oh.
I
Don't
think-
open that door.
I think,
likes
and
her
I watched the
bird
whole
feeding.
Commandos with the stream, you guys. I don't have a problem. I'm still waiting for somebody to show me something where
You
I
saw
go,
the EFAP that we
yeah, that's a problem. No, I saw the EFAP where everybody was talking over her and not letting her finish or explain the situation.
Would you let her finish?
did? Oh, man.
Uh-oh.
You beat me to it.
He hopes she
Dang
does.
it.
Man, I'd give her some context. And also, I think it's kind of cute the way she talks. Like she talks kind of like a Valley
Okay.
girl, where she doesn't pronounce things correctly, and I think that's funny.
Yeah.
That's why you need a foreigner,
Did
man.
we
I'm
talk
telling you.
about-
I know.
You'll get that all the time.
Maybe that's what that is. BA. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Go get you a
BA.
Russian girl, apparently.
Are we
Oh,
going to
there
talk
was this,
about
there was this
the-
Latina
the-
lady who came to the dealership the other day. Oh my god! We were actually like, after she left, there was like a moment of silence, and then we looked around at each other and we were like, "Do you think that ass was real, or do you think it was like fake?" Like we were all like, "Wait a minute, there's no way that was real," and it was,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, she didn't even speak English. and I helped her
She
out.
doesn't have
you
to.
know.
She don't need to.
No, she does not. Slap me in the face and speak angrily at me in Spanish.
Did you give
Let's
her
go.
your business card, Patrick?
Oh, Poppy.
Yeah, well, stapled to the paperwork, so
Uh-oh.
standard procedure.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get in
Green
there,
card.
man.
Give her the golden, the golden.
I'll be like,
ticket.
hey, this is Patrick from the dealership, and she'll be like, "Qué?" And I'll be like, Diablo.
Just a
Espanol.
follow-up call from last week. How's the car doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Would you
How's
like
that
my
ass
churro?
doing? I mean, the car. Oh man.
So, should we get into the serious topic of the night?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
The intended topic?
Yes, I'll be right back though. Give me like 5 minutes.
The guest.
Yeah.
is-
You can start. I'll be back.
Just to warn you, I don't have all night, but I want to at least come in and hang
Unlike
out.
Patrick with Brittany, he has all night. But
So I'm just saying, I may not be here for super long. So
oh, you're good. You're good.
BRB.
I'm
I
gonna
gotta
run
go
a poll
smoke
on
what
my,
I was called today.
Oh. I'm gonna run a poll on
Well,
my
yes.
channel to see if people like Rachel Zegler or Brittany Venti more.
I'm gonna go with Patrick's option. Yeah.
Well, between those two, yeah, Venti is the more based one, but at the same time, I don't blame Patrick. He wants to fix her. I think the only way to fix her is to get her to just stop talking altogether. If you could do that, then
I don't think I know what she looks like very well. I'm gonna look her up real quick. Brittany Venti. Okay. She got like the fisheye thing going on, like the Ziegler chick.
Yeah.
she was on the EFAP, Aaron, the EFAP that we did on Commandos.
I'm blind.
You don't remember?
No, she wasn't. She's like in a sweatshirt. Like I don't know, in a small square.
Yeah.
Okay, I see her now. Here we go. Oh,
She does
okay.
have
I
other
get it.
assets going on.
Yeah, her eyes are far apart, aren't they?
That doesn't bother me though. Like I actually think it's kind of unique.
Yeah,
In a good way.
It's like a fragile Bambi or something, right? Give her baby deer legs. You know what I mean?
Bambi, that's a good comparison. Wow, she's like a living anime character.
Yeah, I get it. I like that Anya Taylor-Joy chick, so I understand. Sometimes you got to forgive them for their wide apart eyes, or as Chris Fisk calls it, the hammerhead look.
Well, apparently that's a new
For her, it's a
category.
good thing.
There's a new category of people being into Down syndrome chicks.
What's going on, Katie?
Speaking of which,
She's down, I'm up. What's up, Katie?
hey,
Are we
Katie.
talking about Brittany Ventney?
I think so.
Oh, Patrick. You know what he needs to do is just do like a video and just, I don't know, send it in her DMs and just
Yeah.
confess his love and get it over with.
You know what he needs to do, Katie? Patrick has the voice of an angel. He needs to sing a song, record it. He's got to have a ukulele like accompanying him. He should be the one playing it, of course. Otherwise,
That's
she'll end up,
right.
yeah, and her heart will melt.
You know what he could? He put on the sunglasses. Like he's done a couple of videos where he's singing, and he could put on the sunglasses and all, and like do like a Frank Sinatra song, kind of woo her over.
There you
I
go.
think it'll work. Have a picture
Yeah,
of Brittany
listen up.
Vinton in a nice picture frame behind him.
well,
I know-
no, that's a little much. But
Yeah, I know you want to move on to a serious topic, but I think we should try bullying Patrick into singing a song for Brittany Venti, and then we can have Katie clip it.
He needs
Where
to
does she
premiere it
live?
right now.
Maybe he should go to her house. Just kidding. I didn't say that. Yeah, I mean in Minecraft.
the
Be right back.
Minecraft
Grab
house.
some-
Well, BA, before you move off topic, I just want to make a comment about the John Longbox situation. I missed out on half of that conversation because I just got home. All I have to say is it's funny how he acts that way when he was begging begging since Pencils Down. I shit you not. If you guys remember, during the launch of Pencils Down, John Longbach showed up near the end of it, and he was like, "Hey, can I come on and promote? Can I come on and promote?" And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, I know why you're coming on here to promote. Yeah, you know." And I said, "Sure, whatever." Well, I kind of like dismissed it, moved on. And I kid you not, at least every 2 months to 3 months, he would DM me and ask me when I was going to have him on the show. So when I finally have him on the show and got him 3 backers, then he pulls this shit. And it's like, do you not, like, did you forget that I promoted your sorry ass? And let me just say this, since we're speaking on it, because I just want to have my peace with it. I know y'all like totally moved on, but I need my peace with it. But
Yeah.
But when he was going through the campaign, I'm like, so you think I'm the most degenerate son of a bitch there is. But what the hell do you have? Like the ladies he was showing me and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, YouTube's going to strike me. Like they're going to knock this shit down and they were very young, let's say. And it was just like, okay, so you can point fingers at me and say my crew, which is Mint and Riley and everybody, is a bunch of degenerates, but what is this shit on your campaign? You know, like it's whatever. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But what bothers me is when you're pointing the finger at people when you have your own nasty shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just.
And I thought his comic, the first one, and I could be incorrect, I thought it was kind of promoted as family friendly or all ages, and it's like this one is not all
No,
ages.
that's the reason and if you guys remember my review I did on the stream, I said, you know, this can't be like okay, like the first like story, okay, family friendly, okay, you know, like cool. Not a big fan of the scandalous chicks at the beginning, but whatever. You know, it's men. I'm a woman. I don't get it. Whatever. But then you go to the second half of the story of this short story, and I'm like, ooh, we're getting a little dark here. I don't think I want to show. Can I just rip half of these pages out and then give it to my son? Because I don't think I want him to see a drawn kid that's got the shit beaten out of him. Like I don't really think that's appropriate for my kid to have. And then what confused me was, okay, well, I thought the whole book was the heroic story, right? But then you got another story. So wait, you're doing 2 stories in one book? But I could have sworn he didn't promoted it that way. Now I could be wrong. It's been a minute. But I got the impression that this was a family-friendly book and it was all about this superhero wannabe dude. But then it was not. So it was like, whatever.
Well,
you know?
his main character has the purple cape and purple underwear with a white costume. Screams like Pride Parade. It kind of just looks like he's in the Pride Parade.
Well, I'm glad you brought up, Katie, that he was just recently on your channel too, right? Like a month or 2 ago.
Yes.
So that really contradicts his whole interaction with me, right? Because he's saying CG's bad for indie comics, but he wants to still promote his book on a CG channel, right? A outright CG channel. So
And
how does
beg
that work?
for it.
Yeah.
That's why I commented and I said, hey, I promoted you. And that's all I said. I left it there. And I don't know if I got any response from it because, like I said, I've been busting tables all day at work, so I didn't get a chance to look.
After my final response, I think he gave up.
What did you do? Say off the top of your head, do you remember what your final response was?
Yeah, he had basically said his jab at me calling me a fag was succinct and perfect. And I said, well, you know, your comics are generic and lack creativity. Perfect. Succinct.
Oh,
and
well, I'll tell y'all this. I had a king message me after after I promoted John. And he messaged John and say, "Hey, I think it's really great that you went on Katie's channel. This is great. You know, she's awesome. It's good to see that you're willing to come on, you know, CG streams, and it seemed like you had a real good time." And literally, John Longbox flipped out on him and said that he only needed me for the promotion. He thinks I'm the most degenerate one out of the pack, and my crew are all degenerates, and it's ruining Comicsgate when we don't read books. I mean, and apparently he said that it got really, really dark at one point, so he wasn't comfortable telling me everything. But it was like, wow, a king messages me and not only tells me what was said, but he says, I looked through this book and it's an embarrassment. It's embarrassing.
Dan Wallace said
because
that?
I'm not going to say it was a king.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
No, it's not. It wasn't Liam Gray. I will vouch that. But
It was
I'm just
Rob
saying.
Hunter? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started.
By the way,
that.
Liam, that was adorable with your daughter on your back when you came on. That was so cute.
Oh, dude, it was, hey, I'm going to go on a live stream. My daughter just throws herself at me like a tiny koala. I'm like, get the hell off me. I'm so it was not planned. But
She was
the
precious.
situation with John Longbox is he's been around for a long time, right? He's been around for a while. But, like, why? What is it with these sort of Niobe types, right, that want to sort of use the promotional vehicle of Comicsgate while tearing it down? They add no excitement. They had no fun. They had no hype. This is going to be my thing for this is my narrative for next week. Where's all the hype? I want all the where's the fun, right? Like there's nothing fun. Now, I was recently asked by a well-read user to do a sort of show what he was saying about Zach, and I went through and I sort of watched what he said, and then at the end of the video, boom, he's got like a clip of a porno on there on the end, just straight out of the blue, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's not fucking around. But then, like, to do that and put that out there publicly, fair enough, it's out there public, people know about it. But to broadcast on your own channel and then say, like, oh, Comicsgate is degenerate, like, Katie's degenerate, I only wanted to use her for the promotion. It's like, okay, dude, so you just admitted you use people. You're out there, you know, like, showing literal porn content. That's more degenerate than fucking anything. What are you doing? How does that help yourself? How does that help the community? How does that help comics? You know, there aren't many places on the independent space. This is why I wanted to come into. There are not many places where you can go to get your foot in the door, where you can go and learn and have an opportunity to grow and rise and be around professionals and get out and do that. But Comicsgate enables first timers to get out there and take their shot. Why would you want to shut that down? The rest of the industry's basically shut that down. So we've got a mechanism here where people can actually be comic book artists, potentially make the next great Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or make the next great thing that's going to shake things up. You want to shut it down, John Longbox? Like, play ball, dude. Play ball. Like, what happened with this guy that he's salty at Comicsgate like that? And what is with these people that think that they can use Comicsgate and then tear it down? Because all that's going to happen is you're going to scam a few sales, right? And then you're going to turn around and go blah, blah, blah. And then no one's going to back your next book and no one's going to trust you. So, especially when, like, none of these people have real grievances most of the time. Have you noticed? Like, they just fucking, I don't know. I've been friends with a lot of people that have broken away from Comicsgate. I even walked away from Comicsgate for a while over the Nasser Abadi stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to do what it's going to do. You can either be a part of it or not. And if you're there and present, I'll shut up after this rant. But if you're there and you're present, you're representing what you believe in. That's the power of Comicsgate. It can be whatever you want it to be. You just be that, right? So, like, why walk away from it, isolate yourself, and then try and access the network while condemning other people instead of representing what you represent? Like, it's just fucking, it's bad marketing, it's bad strategy, and it's a bad way of looking at the world. We should all be winning. We should be winning.
Well, what it is, Liam, is John had hoped to get, he'd been on Pimp My Comic. He was hoping Ethan would promote him. And so when he went on Pimp My Comic and didn't do, he got some backers, but he didn't do all that great. But backers are backers. Be proud of what you get. It's more than what you had before. But then you beg and hope for Ethan to promote you, and Ethan says, no, I'm not promoting people, and you take offense. What it is he was hoping CG would open their wallets to him, and when half of CG said, nah, I'm not, no, thank you, then that's when he turned. That's pretty much what it is. He wanted something out of Comicsgate, and he didn't get it, so he's throwing a tantrum about it. And it's a funny thing, too, because during the midst of the king talking to him, not only was he bad-mouthing me and a lot of people, but then he was bad-mouthing Mandy. And it's funny because then 2 weeks later, what was it, Mandy or Shane, one of them put up a post about, hey, do you have a comic you want to promote? And so list your campaign. He was in the comments begging for them to have him back on. And I'm sitting there like, you just bad-mouthed Mandy. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
I know.
Yeah. I don't get it. And it's like, the other problem too is, some people assume you get on a big channel, it's automatic backers.
Yeah.
And then they're scorned when it doesn't happen. Here's a good example of when you might not get some backers. First time I was on Pimp My Comic, I didn't get any backers. I wasn't pissed at them. It's not their fault, right? I knew it was because I'm trying to sell novels to comic people. It's a hard sale. But you know what I did? I thanked them. I gave them a super chat. And then 2 months later, when I was in demand and they said they were looking for people, I said, hey, if you don't mind a returning guest, could I come back on? I went back on. I raised like $600 that night.
Holy shit, BA. It sounds
huge.
like you have manners and basic social graces. This is falling most of the place.
But you see what happened over those 2 months is I got more comfortable on streams. I revised my pitch. I had new talking points. I threw in some jokes and it helped. And the book was ready to ship, right? There's a huge benefit of promoting when you're in demand, right? And so it's like, dude, just be patient. Same thing with Ethan. Maybe you can get on his channel eventually by impressing him with some art, right? Maybe
Probably
just
not
being
now.
nice and normal.
Yeah.
Same thing when I was on Ethan's channel the first time. I didn't get a chance to promote. I was just thankful to get in front of his audience, to get, like, hey, people know my name. And then the next time, maybe I'll get to promote. Next time I got to promote, got a couple backers, appreciated it. It wasn't until like the 5th time I was on his channel when I had a big splash and it was an actual Comicsgate Live to where people were expecting promotion and they were expecting to buy comics or novels in my case, and the same thing happened. And it's like, dude, it's patience. It's your first book. Like,
yeah, man.
be patient.
Like, I've encountered this with so many creators. Like, even my first sort of indie artist, Odie, I had the same sort of headbutt with this. It's like there's this weird mentality among so many people that you're sort of entitled to sales. Like, it's everywhere. And when things don't go the way that they want, they get twisted out of shape and bent out of shape about it. But, like, if I get 2 or 3 sales, I go, thank you. That's 2 or 3 people that are giving my book a chance. Hopefully, all 3 of them will like it, and then they'll come back for the next one. Like, I don't know what it is with all this sort of entitlement from all of these creative people where they think they deserve, like, to make as much as people that have been working in the industry for like 30 years and have built up dedicated fan bases and stuff. Like, but it's rife. It's everywhere. I've heard it from all sectors of the community, like complaining that they didn't get enough or they should have done better if it wasn't just for Ethan. And I'm just like, just say thank you. Just be grateful you got like, $600 a night. That's good,
Well, it's also a bad business strategy for you to scorn the people who hosted you, because in the future, why would anybody else host you then, right? Because if you didn't get what you wanted the first time and you get angry and bitter about it and you continue with other people, they're going to see that. They're going to go, okay, this guy, I don't want him on. The professional thing to do is go, hey, like you just said, Thank you, and I'll keep working on it. That's it.
But how do you get to that point where you feel so entitled? You know what I mean? Like, I feel genuinely grateful. You give me like, $25 and buy one book. I'm thanks so much. I'm happy. Like, how can you get like anything and then be upset about it? If you got nothing, I could understand getting nothing and being disappointed or upset. But if you get anything, how can you not be grateful?
And the thing is too, like if let's say you're on Indiegogo or Kickstarter, and like you really want to rely on in demand, right, to have some longevity. I could understand the pressure and the fear of not hitting your goal and losing out on in demand. Like I was definitely stressing out during my first 60 days. But he was on Fund My Comic. You ain't got to worry about that. You can literally be there forever. So it's like, dude, you got time. You got time to network. You got time to make more connections. But the thing is, and I've even experienced this, and I have a tiny channel. Like ask once, if they say, hey, I'm not ready or something, just wait.
Yeah.
But it's about the approach. And if you're literally asking one guy 6 times and getting pushier and pushier, it's like, dude, come on. You should have realized after the second time, like, hey, you need to give it a break.
Yeah.
Get his attention a different
I
way.
feel like you should realize after the. Sorry, go ahead, Liam.
I just said I have a 2-time rule. I go like, hey, can I come on or something like that, or am I welcome on? If they go, oh yeah, maybe later, or not right now, I'll let it go, and then I'll ask a second time. I'll go, yo, can I come on and talk about this? And if someone's like, oh no, not right now, that's it. I don't ask again. They'll come and ask me if they want me on. That's sort of the way to handle it, I think, instead of feeling like entitled or butthurt.
Yeah, I can't imagine asking that many times and then like, oh, well, but you had this person on and they're dull, or hey, I can't believe you had this person on, but you want to have me on. It's like, dude, that is so like, I'm sorry, I'm going to say the word. That's toxic for the indie community right there. I mean, and that is entitlement. Like, oh, this person got on, but I didn't. It's like,
well, it also betrays a
relationships.
thought pattern that he's got where he's like, you, like, I'm better than this person. You had them on. Why won't you bring me on? But he's thinking about that from his perspective of what he considers to be better. The person you're asking to have them on your show, that person might not think that your thing is as cool as somebody else's.
And that's what's funny. His argument wasn't like, hey, you should have me on because my book is awesome. I love it. This is why, right? It was, oh, well, you had that person on and they're not like entertaining. And I am. It's like, what about your book? That's what this is all about. Right? Like,
I had a dream. I had a dream, guys. And it might be a bit of a prophecy, but I'm going to throw it out there. I said, like, okay, so all you people are disenfranchised with crowdfunding. You're all upset. Crowdfunding's dead. Crowdfunding's fucked. All this other stuff. Okay, all right, I hear. How about you raise $3,000 and put your book through Image? And let's see how well you do then. It's available. It's a pathway. It's an option. It's an alternative for you besides crowdfunding. So I want to see all the people that are bitching and moaning about crowdfunding scrape together $3,000 and put their stuff through Image Comics. That's what I want to see. If they don't do that, then shut the fuck up and stop using crowdfunding, right? Like, because I think that this is a place that needs enthusiasm and active, engagement and networking and positive attitudes and fun. It doesn't need a whole bunch of people running around throwing fucking stones. You know what I mean?
And I mean, with all the people he's had on his channel, all the channels he got on, it's like, dude, he was in such a fortunate position compared to most indies, right? He probably had way more opportunities to promote and get in front of people than Aaron did, or Patrick did, or I had in my first 60 days. Like, I didn't get on any big channels the first 60 days, but I found a freaking way to reach my goal so I could go in demand. And it's like, dude, just, you got to reflect. Like, was it your book? Was it your pitch? What was it? Like, I'm sorry. I get it. I'm monotone. I'm not really exciting. Like, I'm very calculated in how I talk, and there's reasons behind that. But I found a fucking way to raise money. Why? Because of the book. Because that's what it's all about. And if a dull person can convince someone to back their book because the book is exciting, what's your excuse, dude?
Exactly. Well, You know what the thing of it is? I'm sorry, JJ. What I'll say this real quick. You know what it is? It's funny how he's had all these kind of big people on his show, which is great. That's awesome. But wouldn't that help his campaign? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got these big names and they're not even really, I wouldn't say promoting, but they're not really talking about your campaign. Like, I just find it kind of weird. But you know what it is? It's not about this, well, you know, his story and all that, great. But it's the attitude. It's the attitude and the behavior is what turns people off. This is why I got on somebody like a month ago for doing stupid shit in other, you know, in chats because they had a problem with someone. And I kept telling him, I said, you need to think about the optics and the long term of this. You are about to launch your campaign and you are out here doing some really stupid shit that's getting people annoyed and it's not painting you in a good light. So if you want to have a successful campaign, there's going to be times you're just going to have to shut your trap and just let it be. Because the more you shit on people or just get shitty behavior, people are not going to want to support that. They want to support people who are humble, who are kind, who are very gracious and considerate, and just kind all around.
And me.
Oh, whoa. I just realized something, Katie. You're not talking about crowdfunding, are you? All this stuff you're saying about how people just want a good person, you know, they want a shining light. Like, just look at this face right here of this man, Patrick Quinlan. You could say he's my brother in comics. There isn't any degeneracy here. You know, there's accusations fleeing around of degeneracy, you know. But Patrick has something that's
Twinkage.
pure. It's pure. It's undefiled. It's love. It's love of Brittany Venti.
Oh.
And I believe that you know, Patrick, you can see this. He's got his guitar. I know what he's trying to do here. You know, everybody, we're talking about shooting shots, right? You know, there's a 2-time rule. I think that Patrick wants to shoot a shot right now. I think there's a song he wants to sing.
I think he wants to shoot something else when it comes to
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh my God. Don't encourage it, BA. Stop
it rhymes with toad.
What is your guys' problem? Like, you guys have never shown me a single clip where it makes me go like, yeah, no, not about her. You guys, you got nothing but scurrilous rumors. That's all you've got.
You remember?
So
you
my
remember when you
request
asked,
is Cannonball by
Brittany
Damian
Venti about
Rice.
her. Sorry,
What'd you say, Aaron?
I was saying. You remember when you asked Brittany Venti about her rain boots?
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
That was great.
Why was she wearing rain boots? But you see, this is the
Glad I
thing.
missed
She needs
that.
a strong man in her life to tell her what to do. Otherwise, you know what I mean?
The
What
automotive
song would you like to
approach might be a good. I think that's a good strategy. The automotive approach. Let her know
Yeah.
that you can fix your car for her.
Yeah.
Right.
You're-
That will help because that's high. That's high T. Hey, Brittany,
I'll
Bunch of
open up
videos,
her,
bunch of videos with your shirt off, changing tires by the side of the road.
exactly. Dumping fluids down her oil reservoir.
Oh my
Whoa,
God.
oh God.
take it easy now. Take it easy.
No
He's
filter.
mine. Patrick's like a brother to me. I don't want to hear my brother shit.
Yeah.
So Patrick, what song would you like to sing for Brittany?
You know, I really only know real songs. I could make up a song. Could I make up a song?
Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
go for it.
Just real songs. Everybody hears, you know, real
Let
songs.
me
I don't know. Can you?
You guys hear that?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make something up real quick on the spot here. We're just gonna do what we can here.
You're gonna be
with it
singing
now.
too.
Brittany Venti, why don't you love me? You should hop in my DMs right now and tell me everything you wanna do to my body. Oh, Brittany Venti, I know you can't change the oil on your car. That doesn't matter, 'cause I can't rhyme songs. And And then for the last verse, it would go something like this: Brittany Venti, Brittany
Your
Venti,
eyes are so wide.
why don't you stop that? Brittany Venti,
Look like a deer.
why don't you? You guys, I'm trying to be intimate here. Brittany Venti,
Tell her you make her walk like a
we
deer. too.
could go to the zoo, and then I could show you how the animals do it.
Uh-oh.
Oh God.
Oh man! All right, so yeah,
Keep it clean. You started out well though. That was good, Patrick.
Mhm.
I could hold your hand.
That was very good.
Then just degenerate.
and then it goes into a breakdown where it's like, love me, you know. So I'm like,
You bitch.
right? I fucking
like,
love you.
You're a brave man for going. You're a brave man for going after Venti after a past relationship. So I won't drag all of that into this. But like,
Past relationships, he's a virgin.
Was she with a black guy?
He's with the white
I
guy.
was more
Patrick.
talking
Speaking of
about.
which-
I was more talking about the audio release from her ex-boyfriend that came out a few years ago.
He came
Whoa.
out. Oh my God! She turned him
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah.
She
No.
did. Yeah, she turned them gay.
Patrick.
I didn't hear any of that, but I am
She sounded
interested.
mean. She
I
sounded
am very
mean.
interested in hearing about
Mhm.
that. What? I'm sorry. What's up, Katie?
Patrick. You should have said, Brittany Venti. Where's that Linda strip between your eyes?
Oh my
Brittany
God!
Venti. And I land my plane between your
No.
eyes.
I think it's more like
Oh.
Brittany. You've got amazing genetics, and I could mix my Irish and Polish and French Canadian with you. I could do it to you. That's what I should do, because we could
You're gonna fix her. You're gonna fix her genetic tree.
hair, and you just have to convert to Christianity. That's all. It's not a big deal. Come on.
You're doing good.
So BA,
Oh, good.
BA, what's
All
the
right, I'm putting the
serious
guitar
topic?
away.
BA, what's the
List-
serious topic that we're
List
going
all
to
the
talk about?
things you,
Yeah, I'm
List
sorry.
all
Don't
the
worry.
things you
I'll
wanna
clip
do.
We're
that.
gonna jump, but I just want to say before I jump off BA, you're saying, oh, you're dull and all this other stuff, but you're smart, man. You've got really good points. You're good radio. You're good to watch. Not everyone needs to be over the top clown mode. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's really good to just have someone who's got really solid points of views. I think that's another reason JJ's real good. He just muted himself because he was crying because I didn't mention him. But I'm giving you a shout out, JJ. You're also another guy that's really on point with his commentary, and I think that's really good in the community. So thank you for what you do. I'm going to get back to
Thank
work
you.
now, but thanks for having me. Godspeed.
All right, get grinding.
sorry,
See you,
crazy
Liam.
cat.
So yeah, I think originally, Patrick was thinking of streaming, and I've been wanting to stream this week, and obviously with the news about Death Raider, I think that was kind of the topic that's been floating around. So we're thinking of kind of giving some thoughts on that. So let me pull up Comics Gate Drama's tweet that has the blown up update here. So let's see here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to read through this, and then we can have a discussion around it. So he said, saving the Death Raider comic. Death Raider campaign was a success. Sorry, man. Dyslexia just kicked in. That was a complete opposite of what I was supposed to say. So let me redo that. It was
Did you
not
say
a success.
dyslexia?
Yeah,
It was more like
Dyslexia.
schizophrenia.
Okay. Yeah, I literally said was such a success. Oh boy. Death Raider campaign was such a financial disaster. I pissed away my savings and 3 years of my life. I could have been doing anything else. Crowdfunding is nearly dead. My peers' campaign totals drop with every new release. I have left comic books for good and now have a very low-paying job in manufacturing, which is still higher pay than was my livelihood. Crowdfunding, which was below the poverty line. Why should you care? The point of crowdfunding, in theory, is it covers my bills while I work and promote the project. This never happened. It was my savings and freelance work that carried Death Raider through the campaign, yet I still want to deliver to the few fans that supported this amazing project. Bunch of exclamation points. Where does this leave the book? either I come up with some sort of compromise with my debtors and the book ships in the fall of 2025, or it's bankruptcy and the printing and shipping funds are confiscated. So yeah, a lot to unload there. So I think I'll let you, Patrick, kind of start the discussion. I know you're eager to talk about this, and then we can kind of branch off from there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been said a million times by a bunch of other people, but essentially that the idea that you are going to make all of your money that you're paying for your actual bills with off of the crowdfunding is, first of all, laughable, and second of all, one would say that it is incredibly naive, except you can't. You're either is so incredibly stupid, and so I'm giving the option here, and we're going to get into some stuff here tonight because I've had experiences with Rob that I have held my tongue about, and I feel like a part of me needs to talk about that now. But
Yes.
You could be either so incredibly stupid and dull, not in a BA way, but in a like just dull.
Wait,
You're
did
not
you say
very
I was
intelligent.
stupid too?
No,
And-
no,
Man, that's a new one.
Fucking dummy.
You could be that way. You could be so dumb as to think you're going into crowdfunding and then all the money that comes from crowdfunding is what's going to pay your bills, or you're being dishonest. And personally, I'm leaning towards the dishonesty side because there's a few things. One, the 3D modeled stuff. I hired Rob Hunter to do a mini comic for me, which was shipped out to certain people. Certain people have it. And if you've opened it and you've looked at it, I think you can probably imagine for yourself why I did not sell it to people. Why I gave it as a bonus for backing my very first campaign. Those are the only people who've got it, is the people who backed the very first Phenomenon #1. Other than the egregious amount of time that it took to get it accomplished, even though we specifically agreed on how long it would take, the idea that the whole thing is made of essentially 3D assets infuriated me, and the dishonesty behind that, because he told people that he was doing things by hand, that he was drawing things by hand. And at a certain point, I'm not an artist, but at a certain point, it was probably after the whole Eric July 3D art thing happened, and I started to realize, oh, okay, so that's what that looks like. That's what 3D assets look like when covered up by things. That's when I realized what was going on. Because like I said, I'm not an artist. But the dishonesty of posing it as something you've actually drawn, the dishonesty of going on Graybeards and pretending like you had drawn something. He was saying, oh, I prepared this beforehand because I'm not as fast as you guys. No. It's not that you're not as fast. It's that you literally don't draw things. And you should have just told people that. Like, you should have just been honest about that. So all that to say, like I said, I hired him for this mini comic. Well, that's all coming out of my paycheck. That's all coming out of the stuff that I do at my 9-to-5 job that I have that pays for everything that I do for this comic book. The amount of money I've raised over my comic books have only just barely covered shipping and sometimes a portion of printing. And I understood that to be the case. That's how it's going to be. At least for a little bit, it's going to be, every small business starts off, kind of in the red, I guess is the way you would phrase it, until they establish themselves and people go, okay, I'm going to keep, backing, or I'm going to keep going to this business and giving them my business. I said business a lot of times. The point is that I took, and I'm just going to go right out in front of it all right here, right now. I took a $9,000? Yeah. $9,000 hit from that mini comic that I will never
Wow.
get back. Never.
How many
get
pages
back.
was that? I have it somewhere here, but
11 or 12 or something. The amount that I was charged per page for 3D fucking assets being inked. Now, to be brutally honest with you guys, he's a stupendous inker. Like, he's a spectacular inker. I like his inks a lot. I really do. I think they're really cool. I think he does some cool things with the grays and the blacks and the whites. It's really cool. But to charge me that amount of money, and then I find out later that he didn't even draw that stuff. It was always late, didn't even draw the stuff. And then when you look at the mini comic, you can see some egregious anatomy issues. Importantly for me, you can see like character designs. Fuck them. Like what? Oh, what? Your character looks like this? He's going to be drawn like this because this is the 3D asset I have for that. I would have kept my mouth shut. I would have said nothing because I don't like to start shit with people, and people go through things and all that. But this right here, where he's essentially telling, look, he's phrasing it like it's a maybe you'll get the book kind of thing. That's not what's going to happen. You all know. You can look at this post and you can see this is him telling you ahead of time you're not getting shit. And to be brutally honest, I don't care what his personal situation is at home because nobody gives a fuck about my personal situation at home. And I'm still giving my books out. I'm still sending my books out to people. This happens with a million different creators who are still sending their books out to people. No one asks Aaron what the fuck's going on in his home life, and yet he still sends books out. You know what I mean? Like this idea that you're going to use. Gosh, an emotional response from me. What did you say, Carbon? Prone to emotional reactions.
Let it out. Just
look,
I'm glad I said that, Patrick. You gotta keep that in mind from now on.
Funny. It was so funny. I literally was dying of laughter when I heard that.
But real quick, Patrick, you need to let it out, honey. Just I know you're a sweetheart when you want to be, but I think it's best you just let it out because you need to just get this off your chest because I could tell that this has been really irking you for a little bit. So.
Well, I was kind of, it's one of those things where, things bother you and you go, fuck it. And then you move on with your life and you move on from that person. You don't work with that person again. That kind of thing. And you just kind of forget about it. But then when you get, cause I backed him hard, like 2 or 3 times, I want to say, because I really do like the concept of Death Raider. I thought it was pretty cool. But this right here, because like I said before, it's posed as a hypothetical. It's posed as well, if this happens, then this happens, and then this you might get your books in this situation, you won't get them in this situation. That's not. At this point, I don't have a reason to trust anything that he says because he routinely lied to people about actually drawing what he was. He could have just been like, I don't draw it. I use 3D assets. Which obviously would have made a lot of people upset about it, and they probably wouldn't have backed his book and all that kind of stuff. But again, that's not everybody else's problem. That's not a CG problem. That's not a customer base problem. What the problem is with you, that you need to learn how to draw. And if you want to be in the big leagues like these other guys and make the amount of money they make, then you need to do what they do to whatever certain degree. The sheer audacity of comparing himself, by the way, to these other guys, professionally speaking, is hilarious to me. Like you're not on that level. Did you honestly think you were going to be on the same level as these guys who actually know how to draw and do this stuff and make the same amount of money that they do? Another thing that bothers me is the $30,000. Like that's an amazing campaign.
Yeah.
$30,000 is amazing, dude. And the idea that you would turn around and say that was like nothing is, and like I said before, that whole like, well, I was using it to pay my bills. Well, you shouldn't have been. Right. And that's the thing. I don't think Rob's dumb. He's not dumb. I don't think he's dumb at all. So I know that it's not. No, he's not dumb enough to have thought that crowdfunding his campaign was going to be the way that he made his daily money to pay for his actual stuff. He's not that dumb. He was being disingenuous, but at the same time, people would consider it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carbon.
He may have put himself in that position, regardless, because sometimes, even though you can look at the numbers, right? You look at your income, you look at your expenses. People still put themselves in desperate situations all the time. Right.
That's true.
Yeah. And I could see that being a possibility here. even.
But Sleeping Psychopathy makes a good point there. Then he turned around and essentially said we ruined his life because we backed him. Yeah. And and the way that he's acting is like bitter about us not backing him hard enough. And I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I noticed it near the end there that before he officially was gone and left and all that, that the way he talked about it was kind of like you guys should have backed my comic. Like, I don't know what's your problem that you didn't back my comic? Like, there's something fucked up with you guys. No, but it was very
Wasn't good enough.
Accusatory. The way that he would talk about his comic, and by the way, in private conversations with him, he would talk shit about other people, other kings, and things like that. And I would just be like, okay, bro, like I don't need to. I'm not involved in that. I don't need to be involved in that.
Right.
And just the sheer hypocrisy of the shit that he talked about some of those people, and then this coming out now is like for the Jimmy Reyes stuff, I've been very different about that than the way I am about this situation, because it is to me a different situation. I've worked with both of them, and one of them is incredibly talented, and it gets to this point where it's like I can see the disingenuity. And so this post here, I don't read it like the way other people read it. Other people read it were like, okay, well, he's just being upfront and he's just telling, exactly how it. No, I don't read it that way anymore. And maybe I'm wrong for that, but I have experienced enough of Rob Hunter's disingenuity to know now that this was I would have shut up. I would have said nothing at all if you delivered your fucking book. But no.
The biggest problem with this post is that it's essentially him blaming CG and the crowdfunding model for his own failure.
Yep.
That's what this equates to. That's what he's doing here. And also the key statement is in the second paragraph where he goes, it's highlighted too in yellow. The point of crowdfunding in theory is it covers my bills while I work and promote the project. That's incorrect. The crowdfunding funds the project itself. Doesn't cover your bills, guy.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta wake up. It funds the production of the project itself. Your bills need to be paid through other means. So he's completely off here.
Problem is there are it is a potential scenario where it could pay your bills for sure, right? And I think he had that expectation, right? Because there are folks that make a living doing crowdfunding, right? And they came from the mainstream. And I think he had those insanely high hopes of like, oh, I just need to tell people I'm from the mainstream, and that's gonna that, and then being present on Kings will be enough to get me a 6-figure campaign, right? But even a 6-figure campaign is not enough for you to live off of for multiple years, right? If you have normal expenses and all that. So, but again, it's like, no, that's not the point of crowdfunding in theory. It's a potential that could result in that if you're fortunate, if you do things right, or if you have a name. But the thing is, unlike some of the or majority of the other Kings, right, they have name recognition tied to their work. Not a lot of inkers have crazy name recognition. It's just not the reality. Like the only one I can think of is like Jimmy Palmiotti, right? But it's not. It's line artists that really have the name recognition, and some of them do inking as well. And so it's like, yeah, I think he just had.
But see, those guys, like even like Aaron Lepresti and things like that, they're not only making money off of their campaign. Like they,
right.
And those guys do pretty well. Like Aaron Lepresti does pretty well for his campaign. 60K is nothing to scoff at. Obviously, it ends up being, 25, 30 by the end of it all, at best. But like those guys, because they're talented artists, are also taking the things that they draw and selling those things and making money that way. And he should have known that that's what he needed to do. I think I'm going to stop phrasing things because I'm phrasing things in a very like benefit of the doubt way. And I'm going to stop doing that now because this really does piss me off. He did know that in order to make ends meet, he would need to act like these guys and draw things, do commissions for people, and like perform and give people something to. So this whole, you know what? I'm going to mute myself for a little bit because
You're good.
I'm-
You're good.
Well, he's playing the victim.
You know, one thing I want to mention here too. This is a good point. Sleeping psychopathy is, you know, they don't just make a living off of the campaigns. You know, they obviously also get post-campaign sales, but those post-campaign sales happen because they did the crowdfunder, right? So it's like a domino effect to where they can have that build up, they can have that portfolio, and they can continuously make income, whether it's from the campaign or as a result of having that campaign come to life. But that's the crux of it, right? It's not going to happen on your first campaign, most likely, unless you have a huge following, you have a huge name recognition, which he had to have known, obviously, he didn't have. So in that scenario, yes, you have to say, hey, I got to get several campaigns under my belt. I got to do a lot of commission work. And the way, in my opinion, he should approach it is like, hey, do this on the side, do a slow burn, but then try to get inking jobs, right? Try to get hired to do inking for one of the kings. You know what I mean? And make money doing that, doing inking for other, even small indies.
Precisely.
And build your name that way, get some name recognition within the community, and then try to do a big campaign. And maybe you'll have enough, you know, money coming in from those side commissions and stuff to where you could, right, be an artist for a living. And I do sympathize with people that come from the mainstream, right? They lose their way of living because the mainstream didn't want to pay. They started outsourcing things to cheaper countries, and they want to keep doing what they're good at for a living. 100% get that. But sometimes you got to compromise and you got to do what you got to do to get by. You know, we would all love to just do this for a living, right? To just write during the day.
On that
but
point,
it's just
BA,
not realistic.
I asked him after I realized what was going on. I asked him to ink Tomas Kavash, who was my original artist on Phenomenon. I was gonna have Tomas do pencils, and I asked Rob to do inks because I knew that Rob's inks they're spectacular. There's no doubt about it. Like I really do think that. And he essentially told me, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he was insulted by that. That the style that he had quote unquote cultivated, his specific, you know, style that he was doing with his comics was something he'd worked really, really hard to achieve, and he didn't want to take any steps backward.
Wow.
And so
Turns out
I
it was
was
3D models.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that to me is like obviously I read it then and I was like, brother, what do you mean your style? And so at that point I was like, okay, well that's that, you know, I'm done working with him, I guess. But even with the shit that I was given from him, I was like, and I'm not trying to shit on my comic book. I mean, sometimes you make mistakes, and sometimes you just have to eat it, and you have to move on with your life. And but that he said that he literally was like very I don't want to say aggressive, but he was very
Defensive.
very defensive.
Right.
And he essentially told me that I was insulting him by asking him to ink over somebody. And,
Well,
and I was like, okay. So, and then, one thing I did want to mention is that this whole, you know, maybe I've already said it before. I'm sorry if I already have. Like I said, 9,000, maybe 10,000. I'm not exactly sure, down the drain with that mini comic. You don't hear me bitching about it, and the people I told to get it still got it. So, like,
That's a rough loss.
Did it come out of my paycheck? Yeah, it sure did. But I made a fucking promise to people. I told them, you buy my book, you'll get this thing. And I gave them the thing. Like the idea of turning around and saying, well, you know, it just doesn't really work out for me. Like it just didn't financially work out for me. Like that's okay. I'm sorry. Every time I open my mouth, I get really aggressive. I'm sorry.
Have another beer.
I had Rob on kind of close before he left, like before he kind of left the internet, you know. And I could kind of tell he was really stressed out, and I could sort of see like blood in the water. And also a lot of people in the chat, like Jolly Green Comics, I think, was saying like he was upset about the Greybeards thing. And there's other things like that. But anyway, I feel bad for him in a sense. It's like, you know, when you're kind of an older guy and you're wanting to have like this dream, and then it ends up failing, and then now you're kind of stuck. Like, that sucks. But I also, like, all of that sympathy, it's kind of hard for me to keep it when he sort of tries to pull the ladder up, and he's like, oh, you know, crowdfunding's dead, you know, and he's kind of taking like these, you know, veiled shots at, you know, this whole system we have of Comicsgate. And I guess I kind of feel like he's sort of in a way pulling a ladder up, because now people who backed this, maybe people who backed it because I had him on my show, for example, there are a few people who did. What are they going to think now when I put a book out? You know, are they going to be upset at me? You know, and then I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of making people. This makes people like crowdfunding less. You know, so
yeah, it's damaging. I would feel bad for him if it weren't for the fact that now, honestly, the biggest thing. I mean, I'm irked about this dumbass message here, where he's attacking crowdfunding and CG, blaming it for his own failure. It's nobody's fault but his own. But the other thing is this 3D modeling shit. And basically it's fraud. And I put him to the question on it. He was on Commandos, and I said, dude, this art style is amazing. I said, at times it even looks 3D. I fucking said that. I said, dude, this is impressive. It looks 3D. He goes, no. That's the style I cultivated, like Patrick was saying. And remember when I talked about that shower panel, the glass, the shower door? I'm like, dude, that's insane. That looks 3D. He's like, no, that took me days to do. And dude, to fucking lie like that, like, that's what irks me, dude. Don't pretend that you're doing this, right? You're an inker. Just be honest, you know, that you're inking. And also, just if you want to use 3D assets, say that you are. Say, hey, yeah, these are 3D models, and I'm and modifying it. But that's not cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm really sorry about what happened to you, Patrick. I didn't know about that, and that makes me really sad. And I kind of liked Rob, and I know that he didn't really have necessarily a good screen presence, but I just kind of was like, yeah, well, you know, a lot of people don't. So it is.
Well, JJ, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh yeah, no, just a lot of people don't, and yeah, I don't know. To me, it's really sad. So it's sad that happened to Patrick, and I'm glad that you got your book out anyway.
Well, it's a bummer too, because I wouldn't even call the campaign a failure, right? It failed to meet his expectation, but in reality, it's a pretty good springboard. Yeah. Right. To start out with, right? And it's like,
well, I mean, a failure in the sense that the books aren't coming out.
Well, that's true.
But the fact of the matter is the amount of backers who backed him, the printing and shipping it would take would have been covered by $15,000. So it did succeed. It did succeed. What happened is that he failed to realize, or he pretended like he didn't understand that crowdfunding doesn't pay your bills. It pays for the comic that you promised people.
Well, and if he would have done it on the side, then it would have been a nice extra chunk of cash that could have just went towards, right? Let's say he keeps 10 in the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could have went right towards the next campaign. Or
you should try being a writer.
That's 10,000 in general, you know?
Shit. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying, like,
it's like,
this is coming from the artist's point of view. Like, how much of his labor, you know, like for me, I have to buy somebody else's labor just to produce my writing, you know, like I take on all the risk. You guys know
the margins should be a lot higher because you're right.
We got all writers here. Look at
this. Cost. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was just not a good approach. In
Sleeping Psychopathy said something that really strikes out at me. She says a lot of things that really strike out, other than the things where she accuses me of being gay. She says he never talked about comics like he really loved comics. He always talked about the money that mainstream comics made. 100%. Yes, I noticed that. And that was very cringy. It was like, dude, like, Talk about comics. Don't you love? I love comics. Don't you love comics?
Yeah.
Well, let me, JJ, let me ask you this. What happened on Greybeards regarding Rob?
Well,
Well, just remind me because I've watched him for a while too, and I've seen
Should we
so many of
open
their.
it up? Should we
Oh
open it up at
man,
the end?
you might as well, bro. You
Yeah,
should.
let me
You
get
should bring
it.
it up.
Just a
Yeah.
sec. Let me. I'll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold that thought, Katie. I'll open it up.
Well, that's fine because I want to speak about it while you're looking for that because I have some thoughts to share. Big, can you pull that thing back up again? I'm sorry, darling.
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm going to take this time to cut out. I got to get up in like a few hours. So I appreciate the link and the invite. This is awesome.
Always.
I got everybody together at once. This is so cool.
I need to do more panel stuff on mine. I'm just like too shy to send out invites, but I think I'll change that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's a good time. All right, guys. I'll see you later.
Peace out, Aaron.
All right,
Let it
see
go,
you.
man.
Thanks for coming. Pull this up here. There you go.
Okay. So it's funny, I had gotten up that morning and then I was going through all my messages on Twitter and my phone vibrates and I look, it's the email from Rob. And when I read this, I was so pissed off that I was like, I gotta let some of these kings know. So I went into King's room and I said, okay, how am I going to do this? Because I don't want to start drama, but I don't know if anybody's aware of this. So I just said, hey, did anybody get Rob's update this morning? It's very sad to hear. It's very heartbreaking. And so one of them said, yeah. And so it then eventually got brought up. But I'm so pissed off at Rob. Like, this really pisses me off. Like, because I had him on my show and I wanted to help Rob out because I knew that he was struggling. And I had several people, say, please, can you get him on to help him? I said, yeah, I want to help him.
Wasn't I one of those people? I'm pretty sure I asked you.
Yes. Yeah, you were one. And I had him on, and looking back since reading this email, because I did look back, I was like, I'm trying to remind myself what it was. And I remember that it seemed like it was hard to get some answers out of him. Like, it was almost like how when you're promoting someone, you really you can just ask one question and they're so passionate. You don't have to pull answers out of them. They could just, be confident. And it felt like I was trying to pull answers out of him. Like, I felt like I wasn't getting much info, but he was so pleasant. But yeah, he did talk a lot about the mainstream. But I had Armed Ape on, and Armed Ape was a big supporter of Rob. And actually, I think Armed Ape too. So you think it was him and Patrick, maybe two other people. Anyway, the point is, so, Armed Ape was hyping everybody up in the chat. And then, near the end of my show, when it was just me, I let Armed Ape come in. And man, he promoted Rob. And I think Armed Ape's help, we got maybe, I don't remember total backers. I know we did pretty good. And Armed Ape actually got several backers there at the end. And I told him, I was like, you need to promote. I don't know what you're doing. But anyway, and I could just see the excitement of it. Like, just, we really want, Ape was saying, this is a book that needs to be in CG. We really got to, support him. And then, so when I think of this email, it pisses me off because it's like he slapped Armed Ape in the face and didn't appreciate what he did for Rob. And so, and then when I'm reading it, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Rob. Fuck you. I mean, how dare you write this up and think this was a brilliant idea? Like, or what in your head said, okay, this is great. This is perfect. I'm going to send this out. You literally just insulted so many of your backers. And the one thing that set me off more than that first sentence where he says what was it? I'm looking here on my phone. to the like to the few backers. Few? You mean
Few.
120 backers? That's a few to you?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
720 people.
That's a few people, Patrick. Oh, just a few people. That shit pissed me off. I said, you son of a bitch. How fucking dare you say a few people? 720 people opened their wallets and contributed to your campaign with their hard-earned money during the time when the economy, which we'll see, but at that time, people were literally struggling. But they opened that wallet to help Rob. And you call it a few people? And then at the end of your message, you say, "Oh well, here's the plan, guys. Like, if either you get your book, or the debtors are gonna take
Blame it on the fucking debtors."
Yeah. Excuse me, debtors.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's really frustrating, Patrick. Like I could feel your energy, and both of our energies are where we're at. I get it. It infuriates the fuck out of me. Because here's the problem I have too, because he's shitting all over fucking crowdfunding. I wouldn't be surprised he shows up at an anti-CG stream and starts running his fucking mouth. Give it a couple years, it'll happen. But the fact that I have 8 new people, brand spanking new people, 8 of them, who have never been in front of Comicsgate and have campaigns, and they want to get their book in front of an audience. 8 people. How am I supposed to bring those 8 people onto my show over time and convince Comicsgate, hey, I know this is a new guy, but it's, you shitted all over crowdfunding and new creators, because now these 8 people are going to have to really prove to Comicsgate, hey, I promise you're going to get the book. I'm not going to shit on the backers. You're going to get the book. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to make sure everything. How can they go in front of Comicsgate and promise that when we get shitted on like this? That's the infuriating part, is you have fucked those 8 people in a sense, because now they got to change their strategy on how to promote. Think about it. They got to convince people that know. I mean, they don't know people. Like, people don't know who they are. Some of them, and they got to convince Comicsgate. Look, I promise. I don't. Does that make sense at all to any of y'all? Please tell me. Be honest.
Just to respond to what you're saying, you're completely right in that it damages the ability for people to be a new creator, for sure. Because, for example, Rob Hunter and also Jimmy Reyes, they were actually comics professionals. And to get to the point where we're seeing former comics professionals, failing to produce, the credibility is going down. But my only optimism is that I think people have no choice but to show their passion for their project by streaming frequently, right? Getting on stream, talking about their project, having a regular show, going on other shows, and really speaking up more about their work to show that, okay, it's something real. Because otherwise, I think there's no other choice than to prove that,
Carbon, the only thing I would say in regards to that, what you've just said, is, as far as I can tell, having worked with both of them, I feel like Jimmy's situation is different, and Jimmy's situation is one where I have sympathy for him. I don't know the full extent. I can understand some people, especially in the chat here. I know there's some people in the chat who never got their book from Jimmy, and they're upset about that, and naturally so. But I feel like that situation is a little different.
It is, and I didn't mean to equate it.
No.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you. I just wanted to specify. But
at the end of the day, they're still failed projects, right? Because as a customer, we're looking at this like, okay, what am I going to back? There's so many options out there, right. And when you lose faith in these people who are on big streams, it is damaging, and people are going to have to work, doubly hard now to prove that they got something that's going to actually deliver.
Yeah, it just frustrates me. It really makes me angry. I mean, as a promoter, like, again, I gotta look at the chat and say, I'm sorry, guys. Like, this sucks. Again, I don't know. Fuck you, Rob. Fuck you for fucking over CG and crowdfunding with that fucking bullshit of an update. Go fuck yourself, Rob. Fulfill those books, finish the promise, and then you can walk as far away as you want. But
Yeah.
you better fucking fill those books.
Take a loan out, brother. I'm fulfilling books. I've got a fucking $1,000 student loan I'm paying every fucking month. Fucking figure it out. Like, other people have financial issues as well. Figure it out. You promised something to somebody, they gave you money. You should feel like a thief if you've taken somebody's money and you've not given them something you promised them. Figure it out. Do it.
Yes. Oh,
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette, guys. I'll be right back. I already know how this whole Graybeard situation ends. It was cringy as fuck back then. I don't need to re-see the beginning parts. I'll be back.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but just to kind of obviously, Katie knows how Graybeard's works because she's in the chat every week. But in case for anyone who doesn't, it's a drawing stream, so they usually pick a topic. Like they'll be like, "Oh, let's draw Spider-Man characters," or let's draw image characters. You get the idea. So when they started drawing, he turned off his camera, and he was just kind of there the whole time, and then he turned his camera on, but it was out of view. And finally, at the end, when they were getting the drawings that they had, he pulled out. Here, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. He goes to a drawer.
To decide my Maestro drawing. So, because I usually forget to sign stuff.
I keep getting this call from this guy called Scam Likely. Do you know him? You guys remember this guy?
Yeah, that's my business.
What?
Yeah.
billions a year off of old people just like you, Halo.
Why the fuck are you?
That's why they keep calling me. It's like, oh, this guy.
Drawer. Why the fuck is he looking for a drawer?
Well, he pulls it out.
Rob.
He basically had it pre-drawn essentially. So that's what people were upset about.
60. We can get it.
Skip forward a bit.
Thank you, Henry and Marcus, for sharing Rob's link.
Almost done. I got to do some spatter. I can't even hold it still. I'm trying to get the camera to focus there.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I remember that I caught so I caught only the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of, so I caught that. I never saw the ending because I was working.
Right.
And I didn't, but I remember seeing the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, so
wow.
that's basically what happened. So, yeah, I don't know. This is a weird situation because I think in a sense I do feel bad for Rob, but what kind of makes me upset is how he handled it in that message, how he's trying to kind of poison the well and pull the ladder up. What I wish he would have done is I wish he would have said, "Hey, look, I need help. Can someone help me so I can, raise some more money to get the printing cost, and the shipping." But I feel like it shouldn't even come to that because I think he could have, with the amount he made, he could have very easily paid for the book. He isn't hiring an artist; he is the artist.
Well, and the thing too is, once you've ran a campaign, you realize at a certain point when things are slowing down, right? When the well starts to dry up a bit. And whenever he had to have realized that, he should have been like, okay, I either can continue to suffer, right? By not having income coming in or whatever, or I can just go work, whatever work it is, and just tell my backers, hey, I got a situation. I need to delay the estimated shipping date. It's going to be another 6 months, a year. That would have, yes, sure. And I'll bet you he was afraid of, again, the whole late books bullshit that gets pushed around, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if he partially got into the situation because he's trying to avoid that stigma, but he would have had a lot more grace and a lot more potential for more successful campaigns down the road if he would have just gotten the work and then said, hey, this is going to take another 6 months, a year, and then just worked on it at the side, fulfilled the books, right? Not put himself in this financial situation in the end. And then he could have just left and just walked away, right? Clean slate. But yeah, it just does not make sense at all to handle it this way. Like, I could understand, like, you're pissed off, you're disappointed, but don't take it out on the backers. And if you're not going to fulfill, you're better off just staying silent, right? It ain't right, but that would have been a lot better than this. Or just kick the can down the road in a respectful way. You know what I mean? And then, okay, when you get to a definitive point where you know, like, I am or I am not fulfilling, then you have that moral decision to make of, do I let people know or do I not? But this messaging was not good in any way.
Well, and that's why I don't understand why he thought it was a great idea to do it. I feel like common sense would tell you, I probably shouldn't do this, but you could be right. Being he was worried that the backlash he was going to get with that kind of group of people, and I think Jimmy also had the same feeling too. But when they do things like this, like what Rob did, it made it worse because now they can say, look at this, it's crowdfunding, it's a scam. People are just using it to pay their bills. It makes me I'm very angry about it because I backed it.
Well,
it's like, great. Now I'm never going to get that damn book.
I don't really know the answer to this question. The way you phrased it, it made it sound like it's done and it's just a matter of having the money to print it.
I'm pretty sure he sent digital copies out. I'll have to double check my email later. I didn't read it yet, but I'm like 95% sure. So,
which, I mean, at that point, again, we don't know the cost of the book. I mean, we could definitely estimate, but it's like, or to make it, but it's like, okay, you opened up a second chance campaign. You still have access to the King's Room. You still have access to all these. It's like,
right.
It wouldn't, again, even if you have to tell the backers, hey, it's going to be another 6 months or a year, I'm sorry, whatever. You don't have to worry about refunds if you're not giving refunds. So it's like, dude, just promote, man. Try to get an extra $5,000, and that should be enough to print the books. Should be. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, but it's the harder avenue, right?
That's what I was saying earlier. Is I felt like he should have just tried fixing it after, like asked for help, and I think that he would have been able to get enough to print it. But I don't know. Yeah, I actually do have to go now. But thanks for having me on, BA.
Do it anytime, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see.
JJ.
I'm gonna share my screen quick here while Patrick is having some cigarette bliss.
Yeah. I didn't know that about. I feel so bad for Patrick. Like I had no clue.
Yeah, that's really tough. Because I'm sure he knows this, right? That money he spent there could have paid for his making the second book or hiring, maybe an artist he really wanted to work with for one of his books. So that's really tough.
Yeah, and I hate that I came off a little aggressive and said, cuss a little hard, but it just reading that email is just so irritating. So irritating.
Yep.
So you guys drove off JJ, I see.
We did. I got too boring for him. Sorry.
It's probably your irredeemable smugness that got him to leave.
I know. So yeah, I know like 7 or 5 campaigns are launching tonight. But I gotta self promote a little, I guess, since we're on my channel. But my books were supposed to release tomorrow or starting at midnight, but it seems like they released all of them at 9 p.m. tonight. So just so everyone knows, you can now get all of the novels on Amazon now, whether it's via ebook or paperback. And then I also have the duology version in a hardcover format. So obviously not going to be identical to the crowdfunded version, not going to be the oversized version, not going to have the premium lamination. There's no bookmarks, there's no prints, there's no mini comic, but the more bare bones Amazon version. And so, yeah, if anyone missed out on the crowdfunder or, the costs were a little bit too high, then this gives you a good option here, and you'll get free shipping if you have Prime. And obviously the ebook is quite affordable. So definitely take a look if you're looking for some reading. So we'll place the links in the channel or in the chat. But yeah, appreciate everyone getting me to this point, because it was crowdfunding, right, that allowed me to get to this point to where now I can put it on Amazon and kind of just go in cruise mode on the novel side of things, and then any money I make here is going to go directly in 2 pages of line art for the comic. So, and yeah, hopefully in a couple months at least, we'll have the sign up page going for that. So, thank you to everyone here and in the chat that helped me have a successful campaign. I appreciate every single one of you.
Brilliant.
Good, great job, BA. I'm proud of you. It's good to see that you're doing this.
Thank you.
And it was a good campaign. So I'm really looking forward to the comic.
Me too.
I think you're gonna get a lot more backers on the comic, I think, BA, because a lot of these people, well, one, they're all comic book fans, and secondly, people don't like reading. So I think you're gonna do really well on your comic. I'm very excited.
Well, and you got people. There's a lot of people that bought his book. So when the campaign comes out, they're gonna be like, "Heck yeah, I want to see this in a comic form. I want to see the images of it. This scene. Like,
it's almost like watching a movie after you've read the comic or the book.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and people are going to be in for a treat in regards to the line artist, the colorist, and everything. So it's going to be.
Yeah, you've been cagey. You've been cagey about who the artist is, and I think that's because we're going to be excited. It's cool. Very cool.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm super pumped. So got to hold back my enthusiasm a bit though, because I'm not there with the sign up page. I don't have a book yet to sell, so
you got to maintain in the meantime. A level of blasé.
That's right. You got an image to uphold. As Sleeping Psychopathy termed it, I'm human Valium. Get you nice and calm before you go to bed after my stream. If you need help sleeping, just put one of my streams or videos on, and you will sleep like a baby. I'm like the human melatonin.
BA, you should stream more often in that case, because that way, I would put your stream on as I'm going to bed. I would put your stream on to help me go to sleep.
Perfect. My comic, however, will not put you to sleep. It's gonna wake your ass up, kick you in the face, punch you in the throat. I mean,
elbow you in the nose.
But no, I mean, having a soothing voice is not a bad thing at all. That's a good thing. People have said that about me as well.
Brittany's about to find that out with Patrick, that soothing voice.
Oh, look, you guys haven't even heard my soothing voice.
Okay,
it'd be the best option the best choice she's ever made in her life if she were to just respond to my multiple messages that I leave like a
Well,
we need to remember. Go ahead, Katie.
No, go ahead, Carmen, because it's completely different.
So we need to remember to use that title in the future for some kind of project. Muslim with a bacon sandwich.
Muslim with a bacon sandwich.
Right.
It won't be me, but
we got to give
That's
that
how
to
I'm going to
Bosch.
introduce you every time you come on the Commandos from now on. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Muslim with a bacon sandwich.
Bosch Fawson, maybe he'll use that in his book, Pigman.
I don't know if it was the shit show of a debate I did recently or somebody EFAPing it, but someone was like going off about how I was an atheist, and I'm just like, where the hell are you people coming up with these conspiracies? Like, apparently you definitely haven't read my book yet then, but it's like, jeez.
Well, all right.
Sleeping Psychopathy said one thing. I'm sorry, Katie. I just want to bring this up. She said he made a couple comments on his own stream, I think, about thinking John hated him and was gatekeeping him from Kangs. Okay. If you've been in Comicsgate long enough, then you understand that John Malin doesn't really trust most people. And he doesn't like most people from the outset. This is how he is as a person. Like to pretend like you're special in him not liking you. It's kind of funny. Like he generally speaking doesn't like most people. And I'm not saying that as like a negative against John, because as you can see, people turn around and stab other people in the back. And so it's just one of those things where it's like that whole John doesn't like me. It was the same way with Jimmy and Shane. And Jimmy he went on Kings and he became a little different. He started joking a little bit more and having more fun with people. And first of all, people don't have to fucking like you to respect you. You know what I mean? Like if you do the right thing and you're trying to make something, they don't have to like you. And secondly, like some of those guys that you're talking about, they generally speaking don't like new people. So you have to be aware of that and operate within the context of that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny. I remember one thing specifically on the Kings episode. John said something to Rob I thought was interesting. Rob was showing some of his artwork on camera, like he pulled up a couple of pieces. And then John, all of a sudden, he said, Rob, you think you're better than us? And I always remembered that moment. Like, and it was a very subtle.
What was he saying, though? Like, what was the full...
That was it. It was a very subtle, small thing. Rob was just showing some of his pieces on the camera. Like, oh, look at this piece that I did, another work. And then John's reaction after being silent for a while, he just said, oh, Rob, you think you're better than us? So I saw the skepticism, basically. I read that off of John.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely had some skepticism for Rob. Maybe he picked up on some of the 3D looking stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because as an artist might be able to see that as well. So, but anyway, yeah, he was probably skeptical of him.
She's always got some great comments.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry, the comic will not have an NPR tone. It's going to have a Frank Miller tone, so that's for sure.
Nice.
So real quick on this one, welcome, Jimmy. Thanks for being here as always. So yeah, you're going to be in Detroit. I would recommend Nuevo Seoul. So like Seoul, like the capital of South Korea. My buddies own it. It's a great place. So probably not too far from the Marriott there, but yeah, definitely have as much fun as you can, I guess, in Detroit. I guess there's just kind of casinos that would be the only thing you could do down there other than avoiding prostitutes and all the nastiness down there. But yeah.
The Kobe Smack here says, I'm sorry about my birds if you can hear them, by the way. Silence! Sorry about that.
Probably is.
Kobe Smack said, I understand with Jimmy's heart problems, I have them too. As a person who's actually had open heart surgery before, I also understand Jimmy's problems, and I know how much they cost. So, like,
you've had open heart surgery?
Have I not told you this before? Yeah.
Haven't we?
Why?
Just
I mean,
kidding.
what happened?
When I was 18, you can't really see it. on the camera.
What was the cause?
Anyway, yeah, I've got a giant. My sternum was cut in half. When I was 18, I went into the. Okay, so this is also disproving something JJ said earlier about me on this stream. I went in I was at college, so I went into the nurse's office for a routine checkup for possible diseases one might contract when engaged in certain activities. And they told me that I had a heart murmur, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then we looked into it a little bit further, and I had a congenital heart defect. Genital, not in the fun way, but in the very negative way. That joke could have been landed better. But anyway, yeah, no, I had there was severe issues where essentially the part of my heart that was pumping blood out to get oxygenated, it would take the oxygenated blood and put it back into the other side of the heart that pumps blood. Well, not the other side, the same side that would pump blood back out to get oxygenated. So my blood would get oxygenated and then go back into my heart and get sent right back out to get oxygenated instead of, just pumping it out to the rest of the body and giving me the oxygen I needed. So my heart actually, at that time, my heart was like the Grinch's. It was 3 times the size of a regular human heart. And so they cut me open. They split my sternum in half and, fixed the problem. It's all fixed. There's nothing really, literally no negative side effects from any of that. And they glued my chest back together, and I had to relearn how to breathe. And I was 18. So it was, it was kind of it was an experience for sure. And
No, yeah, that's massive, dude.
well,
Yeah, but now that you're
the
telling
night
the
before I
story,
had open heart surgery, I told you guys this other story. The night before I had open heart surgery, my girlfriend at the time called me up and broke up with me.
of course,
on the phone.
of course, as if she's gonna fucking endure going through that with
Right.
you.
It's like, fuck that. It's it's like the most depressing thing in your entire life when you're in it, but then after you're out of it and you've had, what has it been? 13 years now. It's like, fuck. It's funny. It's just funny now.
You get love. You had
now
2
that you-
scars made that night
Yeah,
or that
right.
week. Jeez.
2 hearts were
No,
broken.
now
They were
I
both
remember.
mine.
Broke your ribs and broke your heart.
Oh, that's so good, Patrick. Oh.
Well, it's a good learning lesson. It's a very good learning lesson. As a matter of fact, it was such a good learning lesson that I'm surprised that you're interested in somebody like Brittany Venti, because
I can change her.
She would dump your ass in a second. She would dump your ass in a heartbeat if you went to the hospital with pneumonia. She'd be done with you.
You
Yeah,
guys
good
are
luck,
so
Toby Mac.
hateful.
Seriously.
Everything that you've said is going to be written down, and you're going to have to apologize at our wedding because you're all getting invited to the wedding. So you're going to have to apologize for everything you've said. The eyes being too far apart, everything. Every one of you is going to have to apologize for everything that you've said.
No, I don't think that's a bad thing. I've actually said with that Anna, what's her name? Anna Taylor-Joy? Or I actually think
Anya
Yeah.
Taylor-Joy.
I think that
Very
look is
attractive.
actually a good, unique attribute. I mean,
Yes.
of course, if it starts to actually go onto the side of the head, it would be a different issue. But these examples, I do think it's actually it's a good, unique look. So
Yeah, I think so too. There's a thing about women where they can be unorthodox
unorthodox can be great.
attractive, and it's still like, oh, hello. Like I would say, Scarlett Johansson is an unorthodox attractive woman, as an example of somebody everybody knows.
Get a nice Catholic girl, Patrick. Just go to church
Or
or find a nice
Orthodox girl.
Catholic. Yeah.
Oh, Carbon.
Someone you don't need to fix. Find someone
No.
you don't need to fix.
He needs a Baptist girl. He needs a Southern Baptist girl. That's what he
No,
needs.
Well,
she would have to
that's
convert
good
from her
too.
heresy to Catholicism, Katie.
Hey, we innocent, but we sweet.
We sweet.
They wild.
I need to hop on down to the holler and find me a good Baptist girl.
Christian is also fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, so yeah, was that before or like after your senior year in high school or during?
So I graduated early.
Okay. You're
And
just so smart. You had to.
I wasn't going to say it, but you
Let's
said
go.
it, so thank you. Yeah.
Smarty pants.
I believe
No,
it.
I was in let's see, my freshman year of college was the fall of 11 to the spring of 12, and then fall 12. That's not only my fraternity, which fraternities, by the way, are just like little miniature versions of masonry, so they're demonic. That was my fraternity name, fall 12, and it was also the worst singular semester of my entire life. Everything went wrong. My grandfather died. Like I only know one of my grandfathers because the other one was dead, so I didn't know him. And also the fraternal side of my family was how should I put it, because I want to maintain my father's honor. They were not as positive about the marriage of my father to my mother as they ought to have been. So we really only knew the maternal side of my family, and my maternal grandfather died that December. I was in Hell Week of being a pledge in a fraternity. So you can, if any of you guys have ever done that, you kind of know how that works. And then I was told I need to have open heart surgery on December 12th. And then I was already depressed. And then my girlfriend was a very bad person. So it was literally the worst year of my entire life, 2012. Fuck 2012. But after that, you like I said earlier, Carbon or BA, you learn hard lessons through mistakes that you make and things that you go through. And so I really, there's no way I'm going to go back. If you were to ask me, would I go back and change it and like not do those things? I would say no. Like, no, it really, those hard things that you go through in your life are the things that make you who you are. And you can decide to be bitter and angry about them, and that'll make you who you are. Or you can decide to be like, well, I'm going to move on and become a better person. And so that's where I am now. Hopefully I'm a better person.
It's interesting because
do you have any happy memories?
No.
It was the worst year of my life. I almost died. Everyone died around me.
That same like time period for me when I was right before I turned 18. So right before my senior year was like, not to that extent, but had a hellish accident and was like in the middle of like parents going through divorce and all that stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I can definitely relate. I just had a different part of my body split open. And no, it was not my ass, but just so everyone was aware. But
you have to specify.
Yeah, no, it was actually my hand got sawed in half. So that was an experience.
Geez.
So
wait, tell us about that. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's such a freak accident. So I got like my whole life in high school was basketball. Like I was absolutely obsessed. Like I had just gotten like MVP at the Pistons training camp. So
nice.
And then went to college basketball camp, got MVP there. Like I'm like, freaking floating, in happiness. Got scouted for college ball. And then the day after I got back from the second camp, because parents were going through all that, like I had to work a job in high school, and which isn't that abnormal, but I was offered an extra shift, and I'm like, yeah, I need the extra money, right? I need to go to more basketball camps and shit. And they're doing like a special project where they're building an air conditioning box. It was at like a vet clinic. And so I'm just doing whatever I'm told, right? I'm just like, kind of just helping out. It had me holding the other end of the board steady. Guy's using a saw, right? Sawing through. He hit a knot in the wood. He was an older guy. And I didn't know there was no guard on the saw. So it lifted up, went over and landed, pulled him right into my right hand. And I didn't feel it. because you don't feel it until you see it, and it happens so quick. I felt blood hit my face is actually what I felt. And then I looked down and saw the entirety of my hand and couldn't move it. Right. It was literally almost like folded in half.
Oh, God.
And so like, what do? I just start swearing. Right. And I just like start punching whatever's in front of me with my other fist. Cause the only thing's going through my head is like, shit, my career's over, you know? Luckily the vet saved my hand. He was able to like put some solution in it, right, to help prevent, kind of flush it out, right, saline and shit. And he wrapped it up to keep it together enough. And so took ambulance to the first hospital, and they're just like, we ain't touching this. Like, hell no. Had to take another ambulance to get to another like larger hospital, and they couldn't find anyone to touch it for like several hours. So I'm just like hopped up on drugs, thinking I might literally lose my hand, because that's what you're hearing the nurses, you're hearing the doctors, and it's just like, yeah, I may be leaving here with, they may have to remove it. So anyways, they finally found a surgeon that's like, I'll try to put it back together at least, right? Save it. And I remember like, they're getting ready to give me the IV, knock me out and all that. And, I'm hopped up on pills, and, I'm in that like waiting area before you go into surgery. And there's like another, you would assume is a poor bastard next to me. And I just remember, and this is like 8 hours of just waiting, or 12 hours. Right. And all I remember is like, oh, finally I'm going to have surgery. Just like knock my ass out. Right. I just want to be out. And I hear them like call the lady next to me for her surgery. And, I remember the nurse coming, so are you ready for and it was a boob job. You ready for your, whatever the term is for, boob job at the point and give shit.
Mammoplasty or something.
And I remember yelling and just being like, what the fuck? Why is she going out before me? Are you kidding me? Like, my hand is in half and she's just filling up her boobs. And then finally they gave me the IV and I was out. But
they're like, give him some drugs now.
So 2 more, kind of reconstructive surgeries later, I ended up getting pretty much full function back. So I got extremely lucky. Like, I can't move my pinky on its own. Like, it's literally like connected to my ring finger, or European ring finger.
Yeah.
And so and then probably can't see it, but I basically have a big scar that just runs across, and I have boxer knuckles. So these 2 knuckles are not here.
Yeah.
They're actually down here.
Interesting.
So the scar isn't bad now. So
I had noticed you making weird hand gestures before, and I was like, I wonder why he does that. And that's why
I always do the Vulcan.
Fascinating.
Like, it's a natural Vulcan, like, live long and prosper. I lift my hand.
I was totally expecting you after that story to lift your arm up and be like, and that's how I got my robotic hand that you haven't seen on screen yet.
Yeah.
Then I could have been an artist, just like.
Yeah, you literally. Sorry, Katie, go ahead, but you're also muffled.
God damn it. I said, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, you want to be muffled by Brittany. Anyways.
Oh, damn.
That didn't land, did it?
No. It landed. I hope she lands on my face.
There we go. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
I love Jimmy the Lumberjack. Wow, you smug fool. Bigger boobs versus your right hand. It's no question. Boobs win.
That was more important.
Yeah, it was the right hand. So I couldn't use my hand for 6 months and couldn't do freaking jack shit. And it's right before my senior year of basketball too, which I did still play, which was crazy. But what's funny about all this is I got into comics because of this, because I didn't have anything to do for 6 months other than be depressed. And my brother bought me the first 3 seasons of Smallville because that's when Smallville was out. And that's what made me fall in love with superhero. You know, TV shows, films got me into those characters, which then, right, ended up spilling over into falling in love with like the Snyder films, the Nolan films, which then inspired me to write my novel, which then inspired me to make this comic. So had that not happened, I may not have gotten exposed to that show or had that whole, you know,
Exactly.
timeline of events happen.
Exactly.
Wow. It's amazing what God does, don't it, BA?
Well, you've got to let him do it. Like, and you've got to, you can't be mad about it. And
Right.
BA, you're making a great point there. I mean, you know, and with the whole thing that I just said about the open heart thing, like you can just be mad about it. You can be like, oh, you know, God hates me, this kind of thing. Or you could be like, you know, what can I learn from this? And, or, you know, what positive can I take from this? And that's what you did. And at the time, that's not what I did, but you know,
Well, how could I
eventually
turn
did.
this situation?
Right.
How can I turn this situation into an advantage? Like, BA, I was hoping that you were going to say, since your right hand was still recovering, that you would have gotten some pity sex from some girls that you knew.
Yes.
Instead,
you know, that's funny you say that.
there you go.
Even though
There you go.
I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't partake in that. In high
He
school,
was like, it only
but-
goes in this way. I can't change the way my fingers work. I'm sorry.
but I will say, my one and only ex-girlfriend at the time, like all of a sudden, was just like all over me because of that. And
Nice.
I wasn't
There you
complaining.
go.
So
Yeah, you're lucky.
Perfect.
Sometimes the girls like the wounded warrior, you know what I mean? And sometimes they break up with them over the phone.
well, and it's funny, she actually had broken up with me not too short before my hand got sawed in half. So it's a little bit of a similarity too with
Interesting.
what happened to you. So it was
So it
like
brought her back, huh?
broke the heart and then, well, got my hand broke
Wow.
severely, but yeah.
You think if I get shot, Venti will love me?
Oh my God, Patrick. Wow. Oh my God.
That's a yes. I think that's a yes from everybody on the panel here.
Ah, Jesus Lord. You ain't right, Patrick.
You guys have yet to show me one thing about Brittany Venti that I'm to dislike.
Except that she's psychotic.
Yeah, you've said that, but I want to see the videos or the.
Yeah.
You can talk all you want, but you're like, you know, you're essentially the same to me as PTP. You know, just spreading lies with no basis.
Never compare me to PTP, please.
Well, it's
all right.
Then mind your tongue when you speak about my future wife. That's
Brittany. Well, I'll tell you one thing. One way to not get her is to keep on harping over her, because this obsession and this simping is not going to turn her on. I'll tell you that.
About you guys bring it up. I just respond.
Right. Right.
That's all. I haven't said. You look at my chats on her posts. You'll see. I'm not simping. I'm just being honest.
I wish you all the best. I wish you the best of luck.
You fucking liar. No, you don't.
No, I'd be happy, man. I'd be so happy for you.
Well, let's be honest, though. She's got some reach. And I know you would like a certain type of reach, maybe around from her, but we could definitely
nice.
We could definitely use not that reach, but we could use some of her reach for all of our comics.
A reach around.
A year from now, you're going to see me on Christy Mayer's channel, who I've met, by the way. She's a nice woman, very funny for a woman, to be sure. And I'm just gonna, we're gonna shout out Comicsgate. Look,
wait, Patrick. So you're saying you would be like,
I'm gonna John Longbox Brittany Venti. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God!
You heard what I said.
You're gonna go for the old fashioned
that promotion, baby. Yeah, that's right.
Pity sex.
I'm going for that pity promotion. Pity sex.
Guilt her into dating you, Please, I need a Brittany.
Right. I'm gonna DM her 6 times until she finally goes on a date with me.
You know what, Patrick? I hope that one day when I'm invited on Simpcast one day, if ever,
Oh,
I'm
God.
going to enjoy it if I'm on the same panel with Brittany.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd love to be. I would be. Look,
I
I'll be
would
honest with you guys. If I went on Simcast, they would love me. Okay, just gonna be. I'm not very good at very many things. They would love me on Simcast. That's all I'm gonna say.
I bet you're probably going.
I'm,
You gotta get it.
I'm sure
That's
they
why-
would. I'm sure.
Katie, do you doubt that, Lo? Come on, like, come on. Break out. You do doubt it. I can see because you guys didn't respond. I see now. Okay. All right. Cool.
All I'll say is this:
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll love you, but you have to be careful. These streams are recorded, so you do have to check your ego a little
Yeah.
bit because
Yeah.
that's not. People don't like that. People don't like
Yeah.
hearing that.
I also don't like the N word. I probably shouldn't say that on their show.
No, they'll love that.
Okay, so that's on the table then. Okay.
Lord.
I'm just joking all of the time. You guys don't like. One day you'll understand. There's like I'll joke about things that I'm honest about. It's a weird situation. I'm just a weird person. I'm sorry, but like I'll say things that I mean in a joking manner, but then I'll say things in a joking manner that I don't mean. Like, for instance, I was even afraid about posting about thank you, by the way, Carbon, for taking over Commandos the other night. I was worried that if I were to joke about it and post about it, that you would think that I was actually mad about the command, like what you guys were talking about on the Commandos, but I'm not in the slightest. But I thought it was really funny. But I'm worried because nobody knows, like, I don't know. It's a weird situation where I'm like, I've got to. Because
I
the
know
way
what you
I
mean.
make jokes is by, like, the things that I joke about are things that I, like, actually care about. You know what I mean? So it's
sarcasm and ball busting sometimes can be misread on the internet.
Right.
So I know what you mean.
Right.
But by now, you know me, that I can hang with that and not be sensitive.
And I know that
know.
when you say certain things that you're joking. Like, I can tell, okay, he's fucking around.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who so far don't know that actually I'm messing around, and they think I'm being dead serious, right? When I type something, because it's like dead silence after I say something. It's like, guys, do I need to tell you that I'm just joking?
Well, I mean, you know, it'll be cool though when you're not on the show anymore and Carbon or Colonel JJ comes on and replaces you.
JJ.
You know what I'm not joking about though? The literal zero excuses that Katie has for literally typing commandos. Commondos. The comics game
Yeah.
commandos.
We're going French. It's for Frederick. Maybe.
You know what, Patrick?
You know, Katie, there's autocorrect on X and Microsoft Word, and
That's what it gave to me on my phone.
some effort in. You know,
That's what like.
I guess you turned off autocorrect.
No, I had it on.
What?
Because I have the
autocorrect
opposite problem. I have the opposite problem where autocorrect tries to correct everything I type, and I'm trying to intentionally write it differently.
Yes, I have the same problem, Carbon. It's the problem of superiorly intelligent people. That's really what it is. What did you say, Katie?
My spelling. I will check my spelling.
It's okay. You don't have to. We all expect it from you, so it just doesn't. You know.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You and that shirt. God.
My shirt is amazing. What are you talking? Like, everybody always insults me for my fashion. I'm way more fashionable than all of you. If we were out in public at a bar, everybody would be looking at me and nobody would be looking at any of you guys because you're wearing like black shirts. No offense, BA. I'm not trying to be mean to you.
No, this is blue. I just don't have a lot of lighting.
Oh, fair enough. You guys are like wearing like plain tees I'm wearing like sexy Hawaiian shirts. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I
that
don't know if
one,
those two things
I
go
would
together,
say-
but
I wouldn't call that a Hawaiian shirt. It's kind of, well, I'll give you credit. It's not gay. At least it's not gay looking. But
Thanks.
it does kind of, it has like an old man vibe. Like a 50-year-old
Well, yes.
guy would be
Yes.
wearing
Retired
that at the
Floridian.
bar.
That's my aesthetic. Old man. Yes, exactly. 100%. I'll admit it. I've got a sweater that says Grandpa, the man, the myth, the legend, and I wear it all the time when it's August. Like I'm 100%. I'm all about that old man vibe. I've got shirts in there you guys haven't even seen yet. I've got this amazing shirt that this black guy at the YMCA used to wear. He wore it every day and then he like forgot about it and he left it, and so it was in the lost and found, and I took it. It's mine now. It's a black man's shirt that's mine now. And
So you stole a black man's shirt.
I didn't steal anything. He left it there. So, but
That's what they all say. That's what they all say.
Look at
Patrick.
it. You look at it though, and you're like, "That's a black man's shirt," and that white boy shouldn't be wearing it. But I'm gonna wear it anyway.
You should. Yeah, I want to see it.
I once haggled a Nigerian. I once haggled him $30, and I got two what they call prints. They call them prints. It's a Nigerian shirt with all the the African patterns and everything. I think I'll wear that next stream. It's a little bit too big for me, but I love the patterns and everything, and I also really love the fact that I harassed a Nigerian man into giving it to me for $30. This was at the African American parade in St. Louis. You see, I go to places where I'm not wanted. They have a whole African American.
So Brittany's DMs.
It's a parade. It was a parade. Good one. That was a good one. That was a really good one. No, I'm not that low level.
I could have said her vag, but I didn't. So
no, I've never. And see, look, guys, I'm never gonna look. This is the way it's gonna work. Either Brittany Venti is gonna recognize my brilliance and attractiveness of her own accord, and just message me first, or it's never gonna happen because I'm not a simp. I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, back to the story of me harassing a Nigerian man. I harassed him. I was like 30, like what did he say? He said $50. It's $50 for these prints, these two prints, 25 a piece. I was like, 25 a piece? 25 a piece? Brother, you're not going to sell these to anybody else here. Like, I'll buy them from you right now for $15 a piece. And I haggled that fucker down. And you know how I know how to haggle fuckers? Is because when I was in Moscow, BA will appreciate this. BA, what's that place in Moscow where there's like, it's like a whole merchant place? It's like out in a parkish almost.
oh, it's probably over by Gorky
I'm
Park,
talking-
maybe.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about though, right? There's a bunch of hagglers everywhere and they've all got their stuff. Well, I met Nigerians over there and they were like the two black people that I saw in Russia. So I was like excited about it. And so I talked to them and bought some things from them. I can't remember what I bought from them. But then I learned how to haggle with and manipulate Nigerians. And so I went to this St. Louis African American, what was it? It wasn't just a parade. It was like a whole a festival or something. And I was like, cool, you guys are having a festival. Time for me to get some sick clothes. So I went with my girlfriend, who at the time was black. I mean, she's always been black. She's always been black. But at the time, my girlfriend anyway, the point is,
Oh my God.
I got a shit ton of awesome clothes by just haggling with people. And these Nigerian guys, these suckers, they gave me those two prints for $15 a piece. So I'm going to wear those next time. I don't know where that story was going. I don't know where I started.
Yeah, I was trying to figure that out too.
We're learning a lot of things here, Patrick. Very important things.
I'm good at haggling. Black people love me.
Well, the jungle fever also.
Look, man, I like women. That's all it comes down to.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter what race you are. I like women. Well,
I agree on that.
Chinese and Indian women, I could, take a.
You might change your mind if you travel to China.
You're right. You're right too. That's true. Because you don't go to a place. You only experience people in this country, and you're like, oh no, thank you. But yeah, if you go to the other countries, I can see that.
Well, you know that Venti's part black, right?
Oh, I know. I'm also
Apparently, yeah.
part black because I'm ginger. And earlier today, my fire alarm, not my fire alarm, but the little beeper thing, it went off. I let it run for 30 minutes. So
You haven't replaced your smoke detector or battery?
thanks for the laugh, Katie. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah, I had to turn it off. So
Oh my god.
Well, here's tip number 1, Patrick. It's time to switch
I'll give Brittany
from
Venti tip number 1. Sorry, I couldn't.
maybe
Shut up,
tip-
Patrick.
tip-
Jesus.
more like
had
tip
to.
number.
I'm
Tip,
sorry. He opened it up. I was like, let me go.
okay, no.
Go ahead.
That's what she said.
Exactly. That's what he wants to
Son of
say.
a bee.
Yeah,
Anyway. Yeah, it's time to switch from old man Prince to solid colors.
Yes.
So
Yes, you
Everyone
need
do solid
solid
colors.
colors. Yes.
Solid
no.
colors, my man.
I don't think so. I think I'm going to keep doing this thing that makes people call me gay. I think that's what I'm going to keep doing.
That's a good idea.
Hey, I'm not
Yeah.
even trying, and people are calling me that. So
Yeah, see?
it's gonna
It's-
happen anyways.
You can't escape it, so you might as well just embrace it.
Well, Patrick, you could look like a gangster white girl, like I did the other night. So we try new things.
Which night? I haven't watched your stream in the past week, though. I'm sorry. I was out. I was about.
What day was it? I think it was Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday night. CG After Dark.
I've got to go watch that then. Did you have like dreads? Please tell me you had dreads.
No, but yeah, I had a bandana on, and I looked really really gangster. So wick a wick.
I love how she says that. I looked really gangster. Like, yeah, I'm sure you did. You guys have like, I was so gangster. You guys have no idea how gangster that I was. I was superlatively gangster.
I look like one of those hood girls that went to beauty school. So
I know exactly what you're saying.
Well, you got the potty mouth.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Well, my beauty school I was literally the minority at my beauty school. I went to the hood to get my license.
Oh, so you know how to do it with the you know how everything works, like the yarn and all that shit.
No, I never tried to learn to.
You never did the yarn stuff?
The what?
Well, those chicks who like they take like it literally looks like straight up yarn that they like just put
weaving
in their hair.
Oh,
Right?
weaving,
Yeah,
yeah. I
but it's-
tried it in basic class and I couldn't braid worth of shit. And I was like, can we move on? Like, this isn't going to work for me.
Shit.
I
This
even
black
said
shit
it
ain't gonna
too.
work for me. That's what they're like.
I even
"Oh."
said, I was like, no offense, but I'm too white for this. Literally. And the black girl next to me, she's like, yeah, honey, you ain't got it. It's okay, baby. And I was like, I know.
Well, the truth is,
So-
I mean,
Probably exactly.
that's
how
one
she
thing
said
people
it.
don't talk about. Black women, when they want to get their hair done like that, they're not going to white hair.
Oh no, I
dressers,
was
obviously,
discriminated.
right?
I can't tell you.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many black women came in and they were like, "Can I get someone that has the same hair as me?" And I'm like, "Just say you're black." A couple of them would say, "Like, can I get a black girl to do it, or can I get the girl that has the hair like mine?" And yeah, it's happened many times. I was turned down because I was white.
Does that bother you, Katie?
Patrick knows.
No,
all
you know
about
what's funny though? All them black girls would come to me to wash their hair because I would like scrub, like, cause you really have to like dig your nails in their scalp
Yeah.
because they've got glue, oil, from all the stuff they put in their hair. And I gave the best shampoos, man. And they said I was the only one that can wash their hair there. So
Fascinating.
yeah.
Katie, have you ever heard the concept? I went to a guy one time, and I cut my hair myself now these days. But I went to a guy one time, and he said he looked at my haircut and he was like, "A woman cuts your hair." He was like an old dude. He was like, "A woman cuts your hair, don't she?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, like, yeah, women have cut my hair, my whole life." And he's like, "Women don't know how to cut men's hair." And then he cut my hair like the right way. and I've just copied what he's done since then. I've never gone back to a barber since then. So do you feel like women don't know how to cut men's hair?
I think women can cut men's hair, but they're a dime and a dozen. It has to be somebody that really takes in the craft. Because here's the thing: if I wanted to work in a barbershop, I literally would have to go get my barber's license because I couldn't. I'm not allowed with a cosmetology license. You can't use straight razors. You can't, so you would have to go to barber school to learn that. And then you could do apprenticeship, but not a lot of barbers are going to want to get some youngin', or especially if they're white. So it's one of the two. But so the art of barbering there was dying off for there, and it's coming back now. You could tell with the beard oils and men's care. But I honestly I think I'm pretty fucking good at it because I'm the shit. So
Which you are.
I am.
Here's
And
the thing: women can cut it, right? Obviously, they can cut your hair, but what it is that they make you look gay. Is what happens.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Well, here's the thing too. Honestly, I have always wished I was working under a barber, like an old school black barber, because you can learn so many things about techniques, blending, the tools, the equipment. You can learn so much from them. So I would say it's a dime and a dozen, because the women that know how to cut men's hair have been taught by a barber or has been around a barber.
I noticed you said an old school black barber. What is it about black barbers that, I kind of get that feeling too, that black barbers are superior to white barbers, but tell us about that.
I think it's because there's more of them because of the craft behind it. But I also think it's the community. It's it's what a lot of prisons taught inmates, their option to do barbering. It still goes on today.
That got racist really quickly.
Well, anyway.
Well,
but what I'm saying is, you're right, but it's mainly
the
community.
Black barber.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. Black hair, black people's hair is more coarse and more difficult to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's hard to cut black people's hair.
If you can do that, then you can easily do, thinner, wavier hair.
Yeah,
but it's also experience, because a black barber has to learn how to cut black people's hair and white people's hair, as opposed to a white barber is only cutting white people's hair, because black people won't go. That's what it is. So it's a matter of versatility.
Yeah. I still plan to one day, try to at least go through barber school, because I really want to get better in it. I know I'm the shit, but I know I could get really good at it. Straight, doing straight razor, shaving, facials, and, it's, because it's an art that's coming back, because it's honestly barbers are shut up. Whatever the thought is,
holding back my joke on your behalf.
Just fucking say it, BA. It's okay.
You familiar with facials?
It was because I said facial.
Yes.
Well, he immediately thought of Brittany at that moment. And he's got a real big smile.
Oh god. Anyway, but the art of a barber was a technique that was slowly fading away. A lot of them would pass away or retire, and it's to get into a barber school is very hard. There's really not that many, so that's why apprenticeship is really important. But a lot of old school barbers don't do apprenticeship. They just they do their own thing. But it's coming back, because I went to a hair show before COVID, And I swear to God, it was all about straight razor. It was all about beards, and I mean, it was mainly dedicated to men's care. And it was coming back like the old school, like they were selling the old school barber chairs, the equipment, you know. Yeah, that's when I knew. I was like, yeah, it's coming back. And yeah,
I
so
love
now
a
it's
straight razor. I have one. I only don't use it because I'm lazy and I don't want to, the straight razor is approximately, if you compare it to like a reusable, or not a reusable, but a disposable razor that, like the Gillette or whatever that you get. A straight razor is maybe 137% more difficult to use and more time invested. That's the main thing, is the time that it takes to use it. But straight razors are just like, they just feel, I don't know, you've got it and you're just like, yeah. And like your testosterone increases as you're using it. You're just like, yeah, that's right.
It's kind of true. It feels good.
It's so it feels good.
It has a good
I don't know what,
sensation.
so closer to the skin. I will
Yeah.
say, sleeping psychopathy. I do want to correct. I guess not a dime dozen, but I guess I was trying to say it's very, very rare. Like you will find a woman that can cut men's hair without making them look gay. So,
Jimmy the Lumberjack. Yes, I prefer Italian barbers. I trust Italian when it comes to overall.
it's because you're
most
Italian.
things.
No, he's not Italian. He's Mexican.
No.
What are
Wow.
you?
I'm Spanish.
Judging by his accent, he's Mexican.
Wow. But
What do
no,
you mean?
yes, Italy.
That was the most dismissive wow I've ever heard in my life.
No, yeah, well, I'm actually mixed, but anyway, I won't get into the genealogy mix that I have.
Yeah, you're mixed of Spanish and Incan, which means you're Mexican.
No Central American here. Although, look, I won't fault anybody who's Mexican. That's the thing. You want to try to make fun of Mexicans like Richard Hombre? I'm not going to make fun of them. There's nothing wrong with being Mexican.
Hombre.
I wonder if that annoys him or not. It's because he doesn't laugh at it as much as we do. I don't know.
I got him to laugh out loud once, calling him that on accident.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, was it the first time you did it, or because
first time? Yeah.
You coined it, so it's.
I did.
But then we started using it, and he doesn't laugh at it, and we're like, oh, maybe it's not funny to him.
Well, you can ask him tomorrow because I will be promoting him tomorrow night for CG After Dark.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that.
Well, you can go fuck yourself.
Tomorrow, Shane is launching Anatomic around noon. I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's at noon? Okay, good. I didn't get a time.
And JJ Trujillo, I do speak Spanish, yes.
No, I know you speak Spanish. That's why I thought you were Mexican, because you speak Spanish. BA.
Turns out that Mexico is the only Spanish-speaking country in the world. Everything south of Texas is actually Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, the entire southwestern hemisphere is Mexico.
That sounds good. I like Mexico. I like Mexico a lot. Let's keep them here.
Yes, JJ, you can come on the show. I'll be sharing the link if anybody would like to stop by and maybe say his name and maybe ask him. Ask him, be like, does Hombre bother you? I don't think it does. I think he thinks it's funny. Find out tomorrow.
That's right. Can I come? That's going to be what I ask Brittany on our first date.
Shut up.
You beat me to it.
I was waiting for Katie to finish. Oh,
Whoa.
man. No, not like that.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
BA, can I present something really quick to people?
Probably, yeah.
It's this crazy thing. It's this crazy thing that we call progression on comic books when people have paid you money for something. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a page from Phenomenon number 2, and you're going to be getting this, probably within the next 30 days, you're going to be getting this comic book in your hands.
Yay.
And so I'm very excited to show this. This is obviously Peter Gilmore's colors over Claudio Sepulveda's art. Fantastic stuff. I'm very excited for this. This is the Blue Rose doing something special. And
Nice.
so that's I just want to let people, I just wanted to give it a minor update for people. And I have actually one other thing to share, if you wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
There was a comic called Phenomenal Tales #1, and this is a image from Phenomenal Tales #2. And I'm going to be kind of cagey about this. I think people who know, and they can zoom in and they can figure out who the artist is here. This, that's right. It's Peter Gilmore.
Yeah, nice.
And Peter
I like
Gilmore.
This is really cool.
It's going to be
Beautiful.
fucking sick. Peter Gilmore is the official artist on Phenomenal Tales #2, which actually is like I call it Phenomenal Tales #2. It's not going to really be called that so much. It is actually the second Phenomenal Tales, but we're going to be going with the main title of the book, which is River of Blood.
Nice.
And so I'm very excited for this book. This is going to be
Cool.
this is going to happen before Phenomenon #3, River of Blood. And there's a lot of stuff about this that I could show people, but I'm not gonna quite yet. I'm just kind of, I want to get my other book out first and then start talking about this primarily. But Peter is already he's doing such a fantastic job on this book.
Nice.
And
I had
so,
a feeling you were going to do something with him. So
yeah, it's gonna be.
choice.
It's going to be something else, folks. This is going to be something you've never seen before. Yes, Spooky Valley or Spooky Alley. That's the way it's going to be. This is going to be a straight up. Well, I can't 100% say it's going to be a horror comic book because I'm not as advanced in horror as other people are. But what I would say is, the thematic elements of horror are so strong in this comic. It's probably going to be a horror comic book, but we'll see. I'm very excited because Peter's doing everything on this. Peter's doing the colors, the art, everything. It's going to be
I love it.
Really, really cool time.
Dude, awesome. Congrats.
I love it when the cover and the interiors are the same artist.
Yes.
So there's all
this
doing
isn't
too.
even the cover. This is just I had Peter draw me a concept design for this creature here, and he just drew this picture. I didn't even ask him to do it. He just did it, and he's like, "Hey, here's this," and I was like, "Oh, fucking sick!" So I wanted to show people this image here.
Oh yeah,
Looks great.
leveling up.
Let me before we end the stream, let me just plug Comicsgate Commandos on Patrick's channel called PQ Vox. Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's with Patrick and myself and Mr. Frederick Goumand, plus guests like Katie and B.A. Turner occasionally. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Hell
Well,
yeah,
technically,
definitely.
those two are commandos as well, so they should be showing up more often. No, I'm just joking with you guys. But I put the link in the chat there. Thank you, everybody, for whenever you guys do come in. I really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Dude,
But
likewise.
BA and K did our commandos as well. So just so BA's chat knows
That's right.
that we're hip to it.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody go subscribe to Patrick's channel. They run a great show every week. So, yeah, definitely give them your support there. And yeah, thank you everyone for, obviously being in the chat, but for you guys being on the panel. Definitely try to drop the link more often and maybe do a more of a loosely structured show every week. That way we can just kind of cover one or two things and kind of see where it takes us. But definitely a lot of fun. So thank you guys for being here.
No doubt. Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for
BA.
having us.
Dude, absolutely. And yeah,
Thank you, BA.
anyone that didn't get their hands on Vigilantes Creep, please go check it out on Amazon. And would love to hear your feedback, and hopefully it'll get you excited for the comic. So and hopefully I'll have some art to release in the near future as well on that. So thank you guys, and thank you, chat. Have a great weekend, everybody, and God bless. Take care,
Bye,
y'all.
everyone.
Peace.